About 16 million rand was paid to a service provider for the delivery of 18 vehicles. Kosikona Malingamnisi reports.
In April, EWN reported that Mfuleni Municipal Manager April Nduli filed a criminal complaint against 7 employees and several service providers over the 16 million rand in irregular fleet spending. The complaint opened at Vanderbijl Park Police Station involved alleged gross mismanagement of assets, including their verification, acquisition, maintenance and insurance. The municipality at the time also said disciplinary action was underway against those implicated and that companies involved and their directors will be blacklisted. Police investigations have revealed that only 7 of the contracted vehicles were delivered to the municipality despite full payment allegedly having been made to the service provider. Khona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
KwaZulu-Natal Transport Authorities say they've reconfigured their road safety response as the province continues to grapple with deadly crashes. The latest crash claimed 6 lives on the R612 towards Ixhopo over the weekend. A car they were travelling in slammed into a roadside barrier. Transport Department spokesperson Dabezinhle Sibia.
Our plan is to strengthen the implementation of 4Es, the enforcement, ensuring the high visibility of law enforcement officers, education that is creating awareness through educative campaigns, engineering, improving road designs to ensure motorist safety, and evaluation that is assessing what works and how many lives it has saved.
And Britain will get its 7th Prime Minister in 10 years when Andy Burnham takes over the role today. The new leader takes over from Keir Starmer 2 years after the outgoing Prime Minister led Labour to power in a landslide election victory after 14 years of Conservative rule. After being asked by King Charles III to form the next government, Burnham is due to make his first speech outside 10 Downing Street today after Starmer had said his farewells. He will then set out priorities for restoring confidence in government and giving Britain more breathing room amid the cost of living crisis, his team has said. Speaking during his first speech as Labour Minister or Labour leader on Friday, Burnham said he's ready to lead.
We are united and we put the power that comes from that unity at the service of people and places who have been waiting too long for politics to let them hope again. And that's what we're going to do, everybody. We're going to give them hope back.
Gold is trading at $4,008.61 an ounce. The rand is at 16.52 to the dollar, 22.25 to the pound, 18.90 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $90.23 a barrel.
In the traffic, if you are coming from Johannesburg CBD, there's still some congestion on the M2 West as you approach the Crown Interchange. And traffic is also moving slowly on Main Reef Road. This is from Nasrec towards the Crown Interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 21 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The Matanga Commission resumes today with the testimony of witness M, which will take place completely in a closed session.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show I hope you had a wonderful weekend and that you are well this morning. Did you watch the FIFA World Cup final last night? What a gripping match. Spain are world champions again. They have won the 2026 FIFA World Cup, beating and defeating Argentina, the defending champions. So Spain winning 1-0 in New Jersey yesterday. Honestly, I was supporting and crossing fingers for Argentina. I wanted this for Messi. I just thought it would be a nice retirement gift to him. But as I was watching the match last night, I was so disappointed in Argentina's game. I realized that the only fair thing at the end of the match would be for Spain to win, because they brought their A game. They dominated the match, even though the final, in the final 30 minutes, then Argentina was left with just 10 men. But they dominated even before Argentina was faced with that challenge. So I think Spain played the best quality football that night, and they were not scared to attack. So the win was theirs for the taking. So congratulations to Spain. Congratulations to Barcelona's Ferran Torres for a brilliant goal. Remember? How good was that?
It's a deep cross. Williams back in. There's the chance. And there is the goal.
Oh, man. It was quite a brilliant goal. Congratulations to Argentine goalkeeper as well, Emiliano Martinez. What a goalkeeper. If it wasn't for this man's A game, Spain would have won by several more goals. He actually set a World Cup final record with an incredible 11 saves. 11 saves against Spain. And that for me is, quite honestly, the man of the match. Spare a thought, though, for the greatest footballer the world has ever seen, Lionel Messi. It was such a frustrating night for him. He really struggled throughout the match. But look, he's had a glorious career and brilliant performance throughout this tournament. But last night's match was a game too far for him. What are your reflections of that match? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. How did you find the Belgium Grand Prix as well yesterday, if you watched it? Kimi Antonelli finished first, ahead of Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. We've missed Max on the podium, haven't we? Antonelli now has 6 victories in Formula One this season, which then extends his lead in the championship. I think he sits now with about 204 points, and Hamilton is trailing behind him with 159 points. So if you watch the Belgium Grand Prix and you've got some thoughts about that, let me know, please. And then today, Ket Matlala's trial actually begins. The trial of Ket Matlala and his 4 accused, set to begin this morning at the Johannesburg High Court. Let's hope there's no postponement. But he's accused of orchestrating 3 failed assassination attempts targeting his former girlfriend, Tebogo Tobejane, businessman Joe Sibanyoni, and music producer, Mr. Mokobung, popularly known as DJ Vetties. And the alleged assassination attempts are said to have occurred between August 2022 and January 2024. So he appears in court this morning, and they're facing 25 charges, 3 include 11 counts of attempted murder. Now, I want to ask you this morning on the open line what you have picked up in your communities and in your social gatherings. Now that government has announced that there are thousands and thousands of foreign nationals that have been processed for deportation and repatriation so far, I think there are by now probably over 60,000 foreign nationals who have been repatriated or deported to their home countries. I think when you look at Zimbabwe alone, you're looking at about 100,000 Zimbabweans that have left since May, according to the Zim government. A week or so ago, government was saying over 53 or 54,000 foreign nationals were processed. I am assuming that number must be much higher than that now. But it's dominated by the Malawans with more than 80%, followed by Zimbabweans, as I said, over 100 or so thousand, and Mozambicans. And I want to know this morning from you what you have picked up. What do you think, or what have you experienced as the impact of this? What difference have you seen in your communities of these large-scale deportations and repatriations? Have you lost workers? I've heard people who said, hey, I've had to find another helper because the helper is gone, or someone who does the garden, or someone maybe who works in hospitality. Maybe as an employer, now you have to go and look for more employees because you're realizing that the people who worked for you are gone now. What are you seeing in your communities as an impact of this? Have you lost workers? Have you noticed maybe more South Africans doing deliveries perhaps now? And this is not to assume, of course, that foreign nationals only do these kind of jobs, but these are some of the jobs where they sort of would dominate. And I would like to know if you're picking up any difference. Or maybe at your school. I couldn't believe it this morning hearing someone, and I still don't believe it until, of course, I'm shown evidence. But I was told by someone whose relative is a teacher at one of the schools, I think is it Diepsloot, and apparently there are not a lot of school children there are not a lot of school kids in classes in Diepsloot because a lot of them have left with their parents, and as you know, the area there and surrounding is populated by foreign nationals, and some of whom are not here legally. And apparently that's even quite very clear when you go to the school. I mean, I really couldn't believe it, and I still don't. What are you picking up, though? Are there children who have stopped coming to school, maybe as a teacher? Are you seeing that? Are you seeing any difference at all? 011-883-0702. I'd like to hear from you as you share your experiences. What impact, if any at all, are you seeing as a result of the thousands of immigrants who were repatriated or deported? Give me a call or send me a WhatsApp voice note. At 10 o'clock, though, we're going to speak to the Ombudsman for IDAC, the retired Judge Takalani Rolinga, who briefed the media yesterday on progress towards establishing the IDAC's Oversight Office. At 10:30, we're going to continue our series looking at stories that have embarrassed our country and our government and getting the latest on them. Today, we're going to be focusing on the Steelfontein standoff and the escape of Tiger. Remember him? That's the man that the police told us was the kingpin in illegal mining, but they've helped him escape. That's a conversation we're going to have at 10:30. At 11 o'clock, we do our Family Matters feature, and today we're discussing the importance of open and meaningful communication in families. I mean, we live in quite a fast-paced world now. The families often juggle multiple commitments from work, school, extracurricular activities, and social events, and as a result, meaningful communication can sometimes take a backseat. And yet, maintaining open and honest communication within the family unit in today's fast-paced world is more important than ever. So I want to know from you how intentional you are with having open conversations with your family. Or are you a type of family that keeps things under wraps? Or do you realize that fostering open communication in your family isn't just about talking, but it's about creating a supportive environment where everyone feels valued and heard? That's a conversation we'll have on our Family Matters feature at 11 o'clock. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Morning, Clem. This is Jay from Krugersdorp. You know what, my brother? I'm happy. I'm very happy because football won last night. No brown envelopes, no, because Argentina was given such an easy path to the World Cup final. They paid referees, they paid everyone. They've been, it's been. They were not even trying to hide the fact that they paid these referees. So my brother, I'm just happy because football won and we saw Argentina for what they are. Argentina is the Israel of football, of FIFA. So now I'm happy, my brother. I'm happy. Spain for the win.
Good morning, Clement and 702 listeners. Yeah, indeed. That was a nail-biting match yesterday, watching Spain and Argentina playing the way they did. Truly speaking, I was also rooting for Argentina. I wanted to see Messi lifting the trophy as the retirement token, but unfortunately, things did not work that way. The difference between playing as a team and playing as an individual, it's what I witnessed yesterday. Spain was united in defense, united in the midfield, united when going forward, strike force. And they attacked from the first 10 minutes of the game right up to when they scored. That was lovely, seeing and watching Spain dominate Argentina the way they did. Congratulations, Spain.
Yeah. It was quite unbelievable. So, I mean, at some point, I thought to myself, maybe Argentina is using the same strategy they used when they played England, where in the second half, they came out on attack like crazy. That's what I thought. And I waited and I waited. And a friend was telling me, no, wait for just after the 80th minute. Watch what's going to happen. And I waited for that attack. Non-existent whatsoever. But Spain, you could see that they wanted it so bad. That you could see on the pitch. It's actually quite incredible. It's 18 minutes now after 9 o'clock.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Bumi, you are calling us from Guatemala. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm all right. And Bumi, how are you?
Good, thanks. Oh, yes. I wanted also just to comment with the large immigrants going back to their countries. I didn't even realize we were so dependent on small things for them. This weekend I tried to do my hair. I live in Guatemala, so most of the salons, there's nobody. They are closed.
Wait, which area is that where they are closed, Mbuma?
Guatemala, in the eastern, yes.
Oh.
Most salons, the workers there are usually foreigners, but I've been going there for a while. It just was never a thing for me to notice.
So the shops are just closed. There's not anybody who's occupied.
Nothing. It's just like garage. It's like just informal salons, but I've been doing my hair for years. And also the corner vegetable places I buy Monday. It was such a struggle. There's nothing right now for me that I've noticed.
Okay. Well, thank you
And
so
in my bigger picture, I was thinking, it's a big thing. But they do some smaller jobs that we don't really realize.
Yeah, look, and that's why I want to hear from people and their experiences this morning, Bumi, because, in whatever sector of the economy, in whatever part of this country you're at, you must have been affected in one way or the other, or you know someone who has been affected. As I say, I've heard a number of stories. A friend was telling me that they ordered food on Uber Eats. This was now about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. They ordered food. And this friend was telling me from Thursday until Sunday, they were literally using the delivery service, whether it's for groceries or for food. And this friend was saying, and for the first time in a very long time, the people who were delivering the food were actually South Africans. And that's not what, they had picked up previously, if you will, before we started seeing these protests or ahead of the 30th of June deadline. And I just thought, I wonder if really that's what most people are experiencing out there. Is that the case? But also, when I heard the story of how you can see the decline in the number of learners in the schools in Diepsloot, that also surprised me. And that's why I'm asking you this morning, what impact have you seen in your communities? There's probably now over 60, if not more than that, thousands and thousands of foreign nationals who have now been repatriated or deported to their home countries. And I want to know how you've been impacted. Maybe where you go to dine, in the restaurants that you often visit. Have you picked up any difference? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072 702 and 702.
Hey, we buy cars. How does it work if I want to sell my car?
We'll drive to your place. You can visit our pods. Even if you don't have space, then at the mall in a parking lot, we've got lots of depots all across the land. Contact We Buy Cars. You're in safe hands. Safe hands.
Wow, that's great.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today, it's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Just Andalex it.
Do you have a sore throat? Andalex C Oral Rinse and Spray provides targeted relief from 1 minute that lasts up to 4 hours. It reduces pain and inflammation while numbing the affected areas. It also kills viruses and bacteria that cause sore throats to help prevent serious throat infections. Andalex, South Africa's #1 choice for sore mouth and throats. For more information, speak to your healthcare professional.
Just Andalex it.
Andalex, a proud sponsor of The Masked Singer Season 3. You've taken your small business far. Nedbank and 702 can help you take it even further.
How important is it that a campaign like Nedbank Business Ignite recognizes not only entrepreneurs, but people who solve problems?
It is important because being an entrepreneur can be a lonely journey. You go through a lot of challenges, and when you do have those victories, there's no one to recognize you. This competition definitely does that. And what we're doing differently this year, we actually decided to touch base with our past winners to find out what they've done since winning the competition. I mean, my mind was blown in terms of what these guys have achieved.
Nedbank Business Ignite with 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com or igniteyourbusiness.co.za and you could win 200,000 Rand. T's and C's apply. See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
25 minutes after 9 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. Wendy Rolla, I'll come to you in a moment. Let's start with your WhatsApps on 072 702 and 702.
Hi, morning Clement and Tim. Apari here from Rodiport. That final, the yellow cards that should have been there were never there. This whole World Cup basically just favoring Argentina players. Yellow cards that were not given, everything is just not given. Hey, I'm glad it's over. Hey, I'm glad it's over. They should have lost Cup 5 not basically.
Good morning, Clement, good morning. Listen here, Clement. Speaking of the World Cup, I believe Spain deserve this. Argentina, even for them to get to the final with all those controversials of the refereeing, the previous quarterfinal and the semi-finals. I mean, the last 16 and the quarterfinals. I didn't think they could bring their A game because Argentina's style of play was not even close to Spain. Even the previous Egypt game and the Switzerland game. But because of Messi was there and the officiating was bad. So I'm happy. I'm very happy for Spain. Very happy. Very happy. At least the world is quiet. At least that God now is gone. At least I'm happy. I'm very happy, Clement. Andy from Cape Town.
Clement, I think for me, I'm happy with the results because I'm a Barcelona fan and a Messi admirer. So whichever way it could have gone, I would have been okay with it. I just disagree with the notion that Argentina was buying games because if they were buying games or FIFA were delivering this World Cup for Messi, then they would have found a way to do it in the final, and football won. So yeah.
Yeah, football won. And honestly, I mean, nobody who watched that match can claim that Spain didn't bring their A game here. They deserved this. They played for the win, and they got exactly that.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Wendy, you calling us from Eden Vale. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. Yes, I provide reflective stickers for the motorbike riders to put on their black boxes so they can be seen at night.
Yeah.
And I notice now when I go around, especially this weekend, where there used to be 10, 12, there's now 3 guys waiting outside fast. Yes, there's a hang of a lot less.
Oh, wow.
And I know they were foreigners before, so there are obviously very few South Africans taking on the job.
That's interesting, Wendy. Thank you so much for calling about that. Yeah, that's quite interesting here. I mean, Wendy says I used to see about 10 of them, and now you're seeing about 3. So the question then is, does this give credence to the argument that was raised by others that, there are foreign nationals who are illegal, who, are occupying jobs that could be occupied by some South Africans? And I imagine that's what's going to be used by other people as proof that, look, there are opportunities then that opened up for some South Africans. The question then is, are they taking those opportunities if indeed there's such a huge gap that's been created? Rolla, you're in Pretoria. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Morning, Marimecha.
Hey,
We went to a popular restaurant in Montana, and whilst there, we waited for a long time for our meal, and we were very hungry, and the restaurant was so busy. But unfortunately, the essential staff that makes sure that service runs smoothly, they were not there. And my wife actually asked the waiter who was serving us that what's happening, and they were like, no, management told some of the people that were working there to lay low so that everything dies down, then they can come back. And she also asked that, are they hiring? Then the waiter was like, no, they're not hiring. Those people are coming back, so they're still going to continue in their jobs. So there are certain managements who are sort of, telling their workers to lay low, and then once things die down, then they can come back for work. I thought that was a bit concerning, but yeah, that's what I experienced. Sure.
That's interesting. And this was when? You said this weekend, Rolla, or?
I think just a couple of days after the end of June.
30. Oh,
Yes.
I see. Okay,
Yes.
Rolla, thank you so much for calling about that. Yeah, I want to hear more and more of your experiences, and let's collate these, and maybe that's going to help us have a sense of what the impact has been. Over 60,000 or so immigrants have been deported or repatriated, and that's not to say all of them were here illegally, because there are some who had papers, but they decided, I want to leave because I just don't feel safe anymore. What I'm asking you this morning is, what impact have you seen in your own community? Like, have you lost a worker? Have you lost a helper? Have you told your workers to lay low, like this restaurant in Montana in Pretoria? What impact have you seen? Are you seeing more drivers who are doing deliveries being South African as opposed to previously, historically, most of them being foreign nationals? What have you picked up? 011-883-0702. More of your calls and WhatsApps after the headlines. 9:31, Swiss High.
Thanks, Clemens. Good morning. Alleged crime boss Clement Manyathela and his 4 co-accused are expected to appear in the Johannesburg High Court any minute from now for the start of trial proceedings. Manyathela, his wife, and the co-accused face 25 charges linked to 3 alleged assassination attempts between 2022 and 2024. The charges include attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, possession of illegal firearms and ammunition, as well as money laundering. Eskom has confirmed no radiation leak occurred during recent routine maintenance activities at the Koeberg nuclear power station. The utility says since the end of June, 3 highly sensitive radiation monitoring equipment detected brief and localized airborne radioactivity events in a controlled work area in the containment building. The detections happened during scheduled inspections of steam generators used to produce electricity. And oil prices Prices have surged in early Asian trade after the U.S. struck Iran for a ninth consecutive night and a vessel caught fire in the Strait of Hormuz. The gains reflected growing fears that renewed fighting in the Middle East could disrupt oil shipments through the straits, a key corridor for global energy. U.S. President Donald Trump last night told reporters that the U.S. was hitting Iran very hard in retaliation for the recent deaths of American troops in the Middle East. And those are the headlines this EWN, and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
If you are traveling in Boysens, just try to be a little bit more patient for those persisting peak time delays on the M1 North as you head towards the Crown Interchange. And staying with the Crown Interchange, traffic remains a little congested on Main Reef Road. This is from Nasrec Road towards that interchange. Over in Edenvale, traffic is heavily backed up as well on the N12 West. This is as you get closer to the Galulis Interchange. Not quite sure what's happening there, but maybe you can come and confirm for me. Look out for faulty traffic lights in Sunning Hill at Rivonia and Witkoppen, in Marlborough at Old Pretoria and Marlborough Drive, as well as in North Riding at the N1 South and Malibongwe. If you come across any other traffic on your side, please do send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When you're walking the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 26th of July, keep your eyes open because Mazda is bringing wonder to the 8-kilometer route. There'll be 5 Mazda Wonder experiences, including a piano performance, a world of color, a bubble field, a Japanese garden, and the Mazda Wonder Hub. Visit one of the 5, then capture and share your wonder moment on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Tag and follow at Mazda SA using hashtag MazdaSA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand. Mazda, where wonder awaits. T's and C's apply.
At the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, snap and share any one of 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag MazdaSA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
There's so much health information out there, but how do you know what to trust? Catch this show tomorrow from 9 a.m. for Health Matters by Cipla Africa, where we'll be unpacking important health conversations designed to help you better understand your body and well-being. The Health Matters by Cipla Africa is a trusted hub, bringing you expert-led health conversations you can trust. Then head over to Prime Media Plus app or primemedia.com, primemediaplus.com that is, and scroll to Prime Media Highlights and watch the latest Health Matters video featuring leading experts and thought-provoking conversations. On WhatsApp, the keyword is health. You can send that to 072 702 1702 and we'll send you the link to the content.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
It's 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. We continue with your calls on the 702 open line. I've been asking you about the FIFA World Cup final last night between Spain and Argentina. As much as I was supporting Argentina, there's no way I could justify any complaint that Spain has won because they brought the A game. It was very clear from the beginning that they were in it to win it. And that just demonstrated how desperate they were for the win. And they got it. And I think that's only fair, even as someone who was a big supporter for Argentina and someone who, of course, supports the greatest footballer who's ever lived, Lionel Messi. But yeah, it wasn't to be. I would have loved for that to be his retirement gift, but it wasn't to be. But what a brilliant, brilliant performance he's had throughout this tournament. So your reflections, please, on the final between Spain and Argentina last night. I've also been asking you about the impact of the over 60,000 or so foreign nationals that have been deported or repatriated back to their home countries. What impact are you seeing in your communities? These people were part of our communities. Some of them were our helpers, our gardeners, our in the hospitality sector. Maybe you had waiters who were foreign nationals who've decided to leave. Or maybe you had people who actually had documentation and they did other work, but they decided to leave because they were just simply not feeling safe. What have you seen as the impact of the thousands of deportations and repatriations?
Hi Clement, Tula here. Just on what I've realized since the repatriation and deportation of illegal immigrants. A lot of the guys that are delivering the food and at Checker 6060, I've actually never prior seen any South African guys, but in the last 4 or 5 times, I've actually, the guys that have delivered my stuff have been South African. So very interesting to see.
Hi, Clement. Tantla here from Pinoni. Clement, what I've seen is I've seen a lot of South Africans being employed, getting jobs, especially in the hospitality, restaurants. Just yesterday, around 10 p.m., I picked up a lady in Kempton Park from a certain restaurant. She was really tired. She complained that they work long hours and get paid very little. Yeah, that's what I've seen, Clement. A lot of South Africans are getting employed, and I pick up less foreign nationals than before. So I'm seeing a lot of South Africans moving around from one point to another, and yeah, getting employed. That's what I'm seeing. Thank you for the great show, Clement. Thanks. Bye.
Good morning, Clement. Where I'm working, Clement, I've seen changes by this thing of deporting large numbers of illegal immigrants. Now South Africans are working, but there are still the illegal immigrants. They are not working. Now at work, maybe there are 50% of them. So the other guys that they're saying they are paying them for protection fee. If you want to deport them, you must first go to those guys and discuss with those guys that you want to deport those people. Clement, this is Letabo from Lotus. People now are making money.
Good day, Clem. I live around the Alberton area. I noticed that the Checkers 360 is has less foreigners when they come and deliver at your house. Also in the parking lots, the people that help to park the car and guard, inverted commas, your cars are more South African. There's no foreigners in most of the places in Alberton at the shopping centers. I used quite a few. Even this morning, I was at the macro. There were no foreigners.
But how do you know that? like, like how do you know that people are foreigners? Yo, it's scary because there are people who, during the marches, people were going in groups, and then if they pick up that you look like a foreigner, then they stop you and ask you for your documentation, and if you're here legally, which I think is quite a dangerous and wild thing to do, because there's some of us who are darker in complexion or it's got a different skin tone, and I don't know what then you use as a reference point to say, that person looks more like a foreign national. It's quite a dangerous thing to do. So I'm not sure how you pick that up, but if you've had conversations with them, these are the people you engaged with and you knew their story, then I hear you. What I know for sure is that many of us have been affected, or we know someone who's been affected, or who's seen the impact, or have been affected by the impact of the thousands of foreign nationals having been repatriated or deported. Let's go to your WhatsApps now about the final World Cup final between Spain and Argentina last night.
The game last night, Argentina with their doggish play usually works. It's how they play. It's I guess a good tactic. But yeah, coach let us down there. They should have taken Messi off, put in Lautaro Martinez, get that goal. It was going to make a difference. But yeah, as an Argentinian fan, it's not all about Messi. It's all about the team. And yeah, take the guy off. He was doing nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, congrats to Spain. Well done.
Yeah, but guys, Martinez, hey, that for me is really the man of the match. I mean, 6 or 7 saves in just that one match. Argentina could have lost so spectacularly if it wasn't for this chap. And for me, that's the man on the Argentinian side who really, really brought the A game. If it wasn't for him, yeah. Argentina would be struggling this morning with its wounds. Eunice, you're calling us from Killarney. Good morning.
Yeah, hi there, Clement. Clement, a quick post-mortem of the World Cup. We had this chat pre the World Cup, now a quick post-mortem. Let us not forget that this was a World Cup of double standards and humiliation. Humiliation for the African teams who were searched there before the games when they got off the plane. The Iranian team that wasn't allowed to come there and they were humiliated, not allowed to stay there. That's given that. And the double standards, for example, the red card being rescinded where Trump had to call Infantino and have that red card rescinded. So let us not forget all that. Coming back to the match, Clement, I'm glad that Spain won, because the Spanish people, by and large, and I've just been watching videos before the match, for example, in the Gaza Strip, amongst the rubble, Clement, and a makeshift people, I saw a group of youngsters, amputees, all rooting for Spain because they said, Spain, you have stood with us. You keep talking about Palestinian rights, and here we are supporting you. So from my side, I'm very glad that Spain won. And, one other thing, when I saw Netanyahu, Trump, and the Argentinian president, who, by the way, said he's the greatest Zionist in the world, I thought, no ways, yes, I agree with you, Lionel Messi is one of the greatest footballers of all times, but I said, no ways, I cannot support Argentina, and I'm very glad that Spain won.
All right, Eunice and Kilani, thank you for your contribution.
Good morning, Clement. Yeah, so in our house, me and my husband, we're supporting Argentina. My son is Spain. However, after 30 minutes of watching that game, I decided to change because those guys, the Argentinians, the way that they were treating other kids, men, they're so violent, so arrogant. That Fernandez guy who got a red card, I celebrated that one. Yeah, so yeah, congratulations to Spain. I feel sorry for Messi though, because I like him as an individual. Thanks, Tembi.
Thank you so much, Tembi. 15 minutes now before 10. More of your calls and WhatsApps afterwards.
What I love about this year's 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk is that we're going to be walking through the city where I have lived all my life. Joburg is still a magnificent city, and there's no better way to experience that than to walk its streets. You should take part in this year's Walk the Talk because it's a chance to spend a day with a family that you've kind of been part of, but you've never met most of the people. Yes, Joburg has its problems. There's no doubt about that. The whole country has its problems, but boy, do we come up with solutions and new ideas every day. So let's walk, let's talk, let's see how we go. This year, I'm actually going to do the 15K walk. When I look at the routes, 15Ks gives me a chance to really take it all in and a chance to meet as many of you as possible. To enter the 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk, go to primemediaplus.com. Sign up and we'll see you there.
Joburg, it's time to show up for our city. On Sunday, the 26th of July, join thousands of Joburgers for the 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk, proudly partnered by Standard Bank. Walk through the heart of Johannesburg, celebrate its rich history and experience the exciting growth taking place in the CBD. And as a committed partner invested in the future of our city, Standard Bank invites you to be part of a movement helping to build a stronger, safer, and more vibrant Jozi for generations to come. Register today and take part in the walk that brings Johannesburg together. The 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk, proudly partnered by Standard Bank.
The world's best male and female paddle players are coming to South Africa. The historic Premier Paddle Pretoria P1 will be at Sunbet Arena Times Square from 26 July to the 2nd of August. Expect world-class action, unbelievable energy, premium hospitality, and an atmosphere unlike anything South African sport has seen before. This is Africa's biggest paddle tournament ever, and tickets are selling fast. Don't miss your chance to witness the sport's biggest stars in South Africa. Get your tickets now at primemediaplus.com.
Head to Dis-Chem for your best winter buys. Look out for the yellow label to enjoy bulk savings on Better Rewards brands. Swipe your Better Rewards card when you buy 2 packs of Pampers Premium Care nappies and save 189 Rand, now just 409 Rand 99. And bulk up for less when you buy 2 bottles of Crash Guard 200ml syrup for only 389 Rand 99. Save 129 Rand. Valid until 9 August at Dis-Chem. Better health starts here.
Imagine what 25,000 Rand could do for your business. This week, 702 and Budget Business Insurance are giving business owners the chance to win their share of 100,000 Rand with the Budget Biz Bucks Bonanza on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Whether you own a beauty salon, retail store, maybe you run your own guest house or any other business, this is for you. Visit primemediaplus.com and tell us the boldest move you've ever made in your business, and then get an obligation-free business insurance quote from Budget Business Insurance. We could be calling you this Friday to fuel your next big move. Budget Insurance is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's apply.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
It's 12 minutes now before 10.
Good morning, Clement. Yeah, so in our
So my employer on the 30th, he told all the illegal immigrants to stay at home on that day. Then he forced all the South African to replace them for that day. He even asked he even helped them with something they call it waiver, with the money to go and do it. I don't know if it's allowed, but he does that. So the job is there, but they give the job to the illegal immigrants. I don't know why. And the South African, they always say they are lazy. But I've been working there for a long time. I'm a South African, not lazy. So they don't just want the South African to be there.
Morning, Clement and the 702 lenders. My observation has been that the foreign nationals that are undocumented are still in communities. I guess the majority of those who left are those who were in CBDs. But those in townships, I mean, there are few spaza shops that are still running that are owned by foreign nationals. So I guess it's a matter of phase 1, and then there'll be phase 2, and then phase 3, and I don't know up to what phase. But the good thing is that I doubt if the influx will be at the same level like it has been the case. They are a few that has left made a difference. Thank you. Tabang from Krugersdorp.
Clem, with regard to the repatriation of foreign nationals, I've also noticed that at the garages where we put in petrol, there's a lot of new trainees, which are more South Africans than we used to see. So I think a lot of guys got jobs. Thank you.
Okay. Limandlela on Twitter says, the impact of the March and March initiative is clearly tangible. I've been noticing my local car wash has a totally new group of employees, and upon inquiring in passing, the owner tells me that they had to let the old staff go due to them being undocumented. About 30 new jobs for South Africans. So is this what you are picking up? That a lot more people, locals, are being hired for jobs that used to be occupied by some of the foreign nationals who were perhaps undocumented and as a result have stopped working, or they've been stopped from working, or they were repatriated or deported back home. Mohau on the WhatsApp line says, morning, Clement. Mohau here from Joburg. I noticed a huge difference since the marches. My brother has been unemployed for close to 10 years. And guess what? He received a call for a job interview and he's working now. The streets are less crowded and much safer as well. That's a message from Mohau. Another one, Lung says, Clement, we waited for about 10 minutes in one petrol station. Only 2 South African petrol attendants working. We left and went to another one. We were attended, but even there, only 2 South Africans were working. And then that's a message from Louise. And then another one says, Clement, where I work, there were 9 foreign nationals, Malawans and Zimbabweans who were working. Only one had proper documents to work in South Africa. My boss decided to get rid of the 8 foreign nationals before the march. There's 4 South African nationals who've been hired so far to fill some of those positions. And then another one says, hi Clement, there's a coffee franchise that I have frequented at least 3 times weekly since 2021 across 3 different branches. I cannot help but notice that when I started going there, 100% of the staff were foreign nationals. Slowly over the years, 1 or 2 would leave only to be replaced by other foreign nationals. Over the past 3 or 4 months, that percentage of foreign nationals has now gone down to 0. When I asked one of the baristas, she confirmed that this was now because, staff's documentation was being checked. There's also a garage brand car wash that has closed after the 30th of June. The staff there were also primarily foreign nationals. That's a message there from TD in Cape Town. More of your WhatsApps.
Hello, Clement. This is Asanda from Nigel. I first want to say congratulations to Spain. I was always rooting for them. I think politics does play a role in which team you support. However, furthermore, I think it is a worthy win for Spain. But on the immigration issue, I think that it's really sad that there are some migrants who genuinely are in South Africa for genuine reasons. They're seeking to better their lives and their families, and they're just caught in the crossfire because there were some immigrants who decided to do wrong things, and I'm sad for them. But yeah.
Hi, Clement, Lebohang here. Since the foreigners left, though I was not supporting the move, because in many cases I work with them in this construction industry. So, but the business has been booming. People have been inquiring about our services. People have been giving us jobs. As it is now, we are doing about 3 houses concurrently since the 30th of June. That's the contract that I signed after the 30th of June. So, but the business is good. I'm just feeling for my colleagues who have been working with them in this industry. Thank you, Clement.
Morning, Clement. Kagiso here from Brats. Also, the employers, are they advertising the jobs? That's another issue. Do South Africans know if there's vacant scooter posts or whatever kind of jobs that the illegal foreigners were doing? So let's ask the employers. Thank you, Clement.
Yeah, employers, please give us a call. I'd like to know. The whole idea is to sort of do a scan around 702 land and beyond as to what the impact of the thousands of people who's left really is in your lives, or maybe in the people that you know, because I think in one way or the other, we've all been affected. After the break, I'll play more of your WhatsApps, and I see more of your reflections on the match last night between Spain and Argentina. We'll wrap up the open line with some of those WhatsApp voice notes. Obadia says, Clement, I'm so happy that Spain took it. I've been saying this about the World Cup being rigged for Messi. So many people are happy, as I believe many would agree with me on this one. And then Tsepang says, Clement, last night we witnessed football justice thanks to Spain for winning what came close to being a robbed World Cup. That's a message from Tsepang. From Morula View. I actually saw a voice note from some, not a voice note, but a tweet from someone who says, Nyaki says, Clement, do people know that Argentina got 6 yellow cards and a red card last night? Spain didn't get cards for some offenses? ? The Golden Bell situation, the referee was fair for the greater part of the game. Soccer supporters are not honest individuals, quite highly emotional. And she goes on to say Spain deserved the win. They were solid. I was hurt for Messi because he's my favorite. But I'm glad the juvenile propaganda train that it's rigged came to an end. I can't believe people believed that. Or some people clearly did, as you've heard. Many of those that sent us messages here, they believe that up to last night, or until last night, or before last night, Argentina somehow was being given quite favorable conditions throughout the tournament. What do you think?
Good morning, Glenn. Good morning. Yes, since they left, the rooms in the Kasi are empty. Boma stand, they won't be able to pay their big cars. The installments won't be paid. The rooms are empty. But about my friend, those who are running the tech shops, they won't believe you. Why? The South African guys are collecting protection fees from them, so they are protecting them. So we mustn't think that the sponsorship will be closed, because there are people who are living through collecting protection fees, so they are protecting them. They are here to stay. In Amakasi, they are here to stay due to South Africans guys collecting protection fees, anonymous.
Clement Karel here from Vereniging. Support Spain, but I wanted them to win in any event. Mine is just politics. They are part of European countries that colonize Africa. With Argentina, I didn't have much of a problem. I didn't want Messi to score so that Kylian Mbappe can get the golden boot. Yes, sure. But nice soccer yesterday, good football.
Upgrade your home at unbeatable prices. Design Plus Interiors, huge warehouse clearance sale in Wynberg is now on. Visit us at 17 6th Street, Wynberg for exceptional savings on quality sofas, bedroom suites, dining sets and accessories. This is your chance to get quality furniture at reduced prices. Stock is limited. Once it's cleared, it's gone. Design Plus Interior Furniture Warehouse, 17 6th Street, Wynberg.
You know when your people are giving their best, not because they're pushed or pressured, but because they feel supported. And support is making sure they're covered. So if something happens, they can get the care they need. FlexiCare Health Insurance makes it simple for every business to protect their people with affordable health cover. You care. We cover. For a tailored FlexiCare quote, speak to your financial advisor today. FlexiCare is not a medical scheme and the cover is not the same. FlexiCare is underwritten by Auto & General, a licensed non-life insurer and FSP, and administered by Discovery Health, an authorized FSP.
Hydration is more than water. It's about choice, enjoyment, and connection. That's why Aquele offers something for everyone. Crisp, still, lively, sparkling, fruity flavors and sports drinks to boost performance. And don't miss the proudly local Mzansi mango, now here to stay. Plus, look out for the bold berry blue mascot along the route. Snap a pig, tag Aquele, and you could win a year's supply of refreshment. Walk refreshed, walk connected, walk Josie with Aquele.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The South African Police Service says it's confident in its case against alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Magwenya and his 4 co-accused in their trial as it gets underway in the Johannesburg High Court this morning. Magwenya, his wife Tsakani, Tiego Floyd Mabuyisela, Musa Kekana and Tabiseng Nzama face a combined 25 criminal charges, including that of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, possession of unlicensed firearms and money laundering. They all rise from 3 separate alleged botched assassination attempts carried out between 2022 and 2024. The police's Athlenda Mate says the alleged triggermen, Mabuyisela and Kekana, have been linked to about 30 serious and violent crimes in Gauteng. The Magwenya Commission resumes today with the testimony of Witness M, which will take place completely in a closed session. Witness M was granted permission to testify in camera after raising that his testimony could put his life in danger. Witness M is a businessman who will be testifying about the June 2021 Ayrton drug bust, where police confiscated drugs worth 750 million rand from a truck. Tabiso Goba reports.
In July 2021, a large consignment of cocaine arrived from Brazil to the Durban port. The drugs were stored in a container carrying car parts destined for Ayrton, Johannesburg. A businessman followed the drugs from Durban to Johannesburg. Once in Johannesburg, the businessman tipped off a Gauteng traffic officer about the truck carrying the container. The traffic officer then called two SAPS members, whose primary duties are office-based, to assist him in the drug bust. The Madlanga Commission has been probing whether the businessman, traffic officers, and the two SAPS members with no experience in drug busts intended to take the cocaine for themselves. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
Eskom has confirmed no radiation leak occurred during recent routine maintenance activities at the Koeberg nuclear power station. The utility says since the end of June, 3 high-sensitive radiation monitoring equipment detected brief and localized airborne radioactivity events in a controlled work area in the containment building. The detections happened during scheduled inspections of steam generators used to produce electricity. Eskom chairperson Mthethwa Nyathi says there was no impact of nuclear safety, plant operations, employees, or the public, or even the environment.
There was no release into the environment, no risk to the public. The recorded levels were extremely low, less than the radiation exposure from using your cell phone for several minutes. All protocols were followed. The National Nuclear Regulator was engaged throughout.
And oil prices have surged in early Asian trade after the United States struck Iran for a 9th consecutive night and a vessel caught fire in the Strait of Hormuz. The gains reflected growing fears that renewed fighting in the Middle East could disrupt oil shipments through the strait, a key corridor for global energy. U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters last night that the U.S. was hitting Iran very hard in retaliation for the recent deaths of American troops in the Middle East. Separately, Kuwait's military said this morning that it was responding to an Iranian drone attack targeting its territory. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Iran is using the Strait of Hormuz as leverage in the ongoing Middle East conflict, adding that other countries needed to step up pressure to protect global shipping.
The United States always remains open to a diplomatic solution. We've tried multiple times with Iran, and we'll continue to try. If that door opens, we'll be happy to see it open. But and they continue to send signals that they want to talk, that they want to negotiate, but their behavior is what we're responding to. And their behavior is they're launching missiles and drones against ships, including tonight.
Gold is trading at $4,008.61 an ounce. The rand is at 16.52 to the dollar, 22.25 to the pound, 18.90 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $90.23 a barrel.
In the traffic in Edenvale, look out for roadworks on the R24 West, slowing down traffic as you approach the Galulis interchange. And the N3 is also moving slowly as you make your way to the Geldenhuys interchange, also due to roadworks.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 21 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The South African Police Service says it's confident in its case against alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Magwenya and his 4 co-accused as their trial gets underway in the Johannesburg High Court today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD.
7:02
Walk the Talk. Abize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang, Sanbonani, good morning. Welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for all your contributions on the 702 open line this morning. And yeah, I think we do get a sense of the impact of the thousands of immigrants who have been repatriated or deported. I mean, a lot of you have been sharing these kind of stories on the WhatsApp line on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Clement. Also, my son got a job last week. Monday, he started on Monday. He worked until Friday. He got paid on Friday. He got a job because so all these foreigners who left, the spaces are open now because they are no longer there. They are no longer occupied now. Our children will get jobs now. Thank you, Sunny.
So, I mean, this is probably a third voice note from a parent who says, well, my child also got employment. Really in recent months, over the last month or two, since the much protests really started. And I've been asking you this because there seems to be these anecdotes from different people about the impact of the thousands of migrants going back to their home countries. A lot of you have said, I've heard people say they've had to get another helper, and sometimes people have lost employees who, yes, some had the right documentation to be here, but they were just fearing for their lives. But as you heard on the open line, a lot of the employers told their foreign national employees to lay low until the protests are over. Whereas in some instances, you're not seeing a lot of foreign nationals employed, even in the hospitality sector. That's according to some of your observations. So thank you so much for sharing that. Remember, at 10:30, we're going to continue the series that we started 2 weeks ago, looking at the stories that have embarrassed our government and our country and getting the latest on them. We started by looking at the Bushiri escapes, and then we looked at the Thabo Bester escape last week. And today I want us to focus on the Stilfontein standoff and the escape of Tiger. Remember that kingpin in illegal mining that the police told us was a kingpin? Well, as soon as he emerged from the Stilfontein mine, the police just helped him escape. And to this day, you and I don't know where that man is. And there are some officers that have started going to court. I think there was a disciplinary hearing as well in the SAPS, but we don't know how far that is. And this is part of just giving you an update on some of these stories that were wild to us. We're keeping a tag on them. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Family Matters feature, and today we'll be discussing the importance of open and meaningful communication in families. How often do you sit down with your family and have a conversation? Like, are you a type that's more intentional about it? Like, you have dinner together and you want to hear how everyone is doing? Or do you just don't care? Maybe an opportunity you have is when you're driving the kids to work, or when you're driving your spouse to work, or when you're picking them up. What opportunities do you create for you as a family to have open and meaningful conversations? I'm looking forward to your experiences when we start this conversation on our Family Matters feature at 11 o'clock.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
All right, so we were meant to speak to the Ombudsman for IDAC, the retired Judge Takalani Rolinga, who briefed the media yesterday on the progress towards establishing the IDAC Oversight Office. So we're going to reschedule that interview because they contacted us in the previous hour and said something has come up for Judge Rolinga, so unable to meet his obligation this morning to be with us. But what we're going to do now is talk about an equally important story. I was reading this before coming to work this morning. It's a story by Amabungani, and they are reporting about an explosive High Court application by suspended Inspector General of Intelligence Imtiaz Faisal, which confirms how central the now suspended Police Minister Senzo Mthunu's office was to the series of investigations and leaks that led both to the Madlanga Commission and to the unprocedural, and likely unconstitutional suspension of the Inspector General. So in essence here, the IG is arguing that the now suspended Minister of Police, Senzo Mthunu, drew him into crime intelligence wars. Oren Singh is one of the investigative journalists that worked on this He is an investigative journalist with Amabungani, joining us now on the line. Oren, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thanks for having me.
So, how crucial is this link between Senzo Mkhunu and the instruction, the suggestion or instruction he gave to Imtiaz Faisal to investigate these issues at crime intelligence, and of course the role of the presidency minister Kumbuzo Nchaveni and the president in all of this? What's the link?
It's pivotal in terms of Mkunu's role in this entire thing, Clement, because if we recall, the Inspector General of Intelligence, Imtiaz Faisal, was suspended in October last year, officially by the president. And at the time, and via what's listed in his court papers, it suggests that this was due to possible leaks and political interference around leaks that were made public regarding crime intelligence, procurement of certain properties, and also the appointment of Daneo Mokweli, that brigadier within crime intelligence that we know Dumisani Kumalo and 6 others were arrested on charges by IDAC. And I think it's important that Imtiaz Faisal's papers, for the first time, show us that Senzo Mkhunu had instructed him within the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence last year, in January last year, to look into the appointment, number 1, of Mokwele, and also to look into the procurement of these hotels and properties by crime intelligence. And that's important because it essentially shows us that Mkhunu had lit the spark for these investigations to be conducted by the Inspector General of Intelligence. And I think the picture that had been painted following the suspension of Imtiaz Faisal was that he was responsible for the leaks that made public the procurement process of crime intelligence, getting those properties. And one such property is very important, and that's the Vero's Boutique Hotel in Pretoria North, because that property in itself was being used, as we understand, as a sort of base for members from the Gauteng Counterintelligence Ops or GCI Ops teams, as well as members from the PKTT during their investigations. So Mkunu's role in all of this is central to why the Inspector General went in and began investigating. He also says that he received, following the instructions from Mkunu to investigate such things, he received more information from members of the public as well as members of parliament. So I think it's important to establish that Imtiaz Faisal didn't sort of just suck this investigation out of his thumb, but was directed and pointed in a direction by the suspended Minister of Police, Senzo Mkhunu, to go and sniff here and look into this for me.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Do we know the reason specifically why Imtiaz Faisal was suspended, and where are we with that?
That's really important as well, because I think we're almost 2 years later since his suspension, and he himself still hasn't been provided reasons as to why he was suspended. I think the reasons that have been presented to him by the acting Director General of the State Security Agency, Tony Msimanga, as well as the Minister in the Presidency, Kumbuzo Nchaveni, are very scant. He's not been given proper reasons. He's only been told that the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence are investigating his conduct and the possible leaks of information to members of the public as well as the media. But as of yet, despite his numerous requests, even to the president himself, for them to provide more or elaborate reasons regarding his suspension, 2 years later or a year later, he still hasn't had answers. And we as the media ourselves don't have answers, because obviously we're relying on what he's being presented in his court papers.
Got you. So what is the suggestion here, especially to those, specifically the accusation that he leaked some documents about crime intelligence? Is the suggestion here that he may have been the one that leaked the documents to Fadil Adams, for instance, who then went and opened the case with the police? Is that the link that they're making from what you've seen?
I think it's important to look at the timeline of events that have unraveled since the murder of Armand Swart, and I think that's the pivotal turning point in everything here, and that was in April 2024. Because following the murder of Armand Swart, we saw the establishment of GCI Ops, as well as the involvement in the PKTT, from the PKTT investigating that murder. But, fast forward, it suggests that there may have been leaks from elsewhere. And I think the minister's office, and that being the suspended minister of police, Senzo Mchunu, his office could well likely have also been involved in the leaking of information. Possibly his chief of staff, Nkabinde, whose name has popped up several times. He's appeared before, I think, the IDAC Commission as well as the Madlanga Commission as well, or not the Madlanga, but the IDAC Committee. And I think it's for us to come out and definitively say that the leaks came from the Inspector General's office is unfair, because the Inspector General himself has been trying to get answers to these questions and proof that if this is the case, that I'm being investigated for possible leaks and political interference regarding the sensitive, top secret, confidential information pertaining to crime intelligence, can I be furnished with the proof? And as of yet, he hasn't. But I think, since we've seen certain actors and characters, such as Paul O'Sullivan, in certain interviews he has done, he's been privy himself to information regarding these leaks prior to them actually coming out. And in one interview specifically that he did, he suggested that he had engaged with someone within the office of the Minister of Police. And I think, without definitively saying that it is Cedric Nkabinde, I think a lot of people are kind of looking at him, given the things that have come out in the IDAC Commission, but also during his time as IPID. Cedric Nkabinde has been seen as a central character in a lot of the way information has been passed to and from certain important characters in this whole thing.
Yeah. And then enter Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, the minister in the presidency, because Faisal reveals that there was a letter that he sent to President Cyril Ramaphosa where he explains that there was correspondence communicated by the minister in the presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, about the need to extend/delay the duration of this investigation he was undertaking so that, to allow the work of the Gauteng counterintelligence operations that necessitated the patches of this hotel you mentioned to be concluded. And my understanding is that Faisal was then surprised because Ntshavheni is the minister in the presidency responsible for state security agency but has no jurisdiction over crime intelligence.
Yeah, I think that's very important, an important topic to actually hone in on and look at, Clement, because essentially Faisal is claiming in a nutshell that Ntshavheni had been basically dipping into his portfolio and placing roadblocks in his way of investigating certain things that he had been tasked to investigate, whereas she's in charge of a completely separate portfolio, in that of the state security agency rather than crime intelligence, which would fall under the Minister of Police. So I think Ntshavheni's role in everything is crucial to some of the stumbling blocks that Faisal had actually had to overcome during the course of this investigation that he had been tasked to look into. But more importantly, so I think he raises some very important aspects of where she failed to assist the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence. And that is in terms of actually capacitating the Office of the Inspector General, because Intel Faisal is quite scathing in his court papers when he states that to date the OGI or the OIGI is only 44% capacitated. They are facing extreme under-resources and staff shortages, of which Khumbudzo Ntshavheni is responsible of capacitating that office. But he also raises the point that he believes that shouldn't be the case, that the minister and the presidency shouldn't hold that responsibility in terms of capacitating his office. But out of, I think, 6 senior appointments that he suggested upon taking office in 2022, she had only granted him 1 senior appointment. And so there's definitely a massive role that she has played in all of this, in terms of I wouldn't say preventing his investigation, but in terms of being a part of the whole scenario of him getting information that he needed to further the investigation into these hotel procurements by crime intelligence, as well as the appointments of Vincent Magwenya.
Yeah, but do we know of any link, though, between Faisal, the Inspector General of Intelligence, and people like Firoz Khan? Because at the Madlanga Commission, when the KZN Police Commissioner, Ntantlam Khonazi, appeared, he alluded to a conspiracy between the Crime Intelligence Deputy Head, Firoz Khan, and Faisal in allegedly, as you said, coordinating the leakage of confidential information. But is there any link? Is he, the IGI, somehow linked to, Firoz Khan or Mo Saeed?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we reveal in our article, that Mohammed Saeed, who is a tobacco tycoon and the CEO of Colling's, is a relative of Imtiaz Faisal's, and they are related. At the time, we had received information that Imtiaz Faisal was the brother of Mohammed Saeed's mother, making Saeed his nephew. But they both disputed this when we contacted them for comment. Imtiaz Faisal telling us that no, he's only a distant relative, and that he didn't feel at any stage he needed to disclose this relation because, first and foremost, Mohammed Saeed himself, while being in the media for negative reasons, has not been charged criminally of any offense. And secondly, they don't have any sort of communication, so he didn't feel the need to disclose this. And that they don't have any sort of relationship that overlaps in the course of his work as well as Mr. Saeed's work. Saeed himself also confirming that and echoing the same thing that Faisal had told us, that they're distant relatives. But coming back to your question, whether Faisal may have had any links to Khan, I think given the relation to Saeed, there could well be a link to Khan there. Those are questions we hadn't put directly to Faisal. But given what we've seen at the commission and come out at the commission, I think last week or the week before, whereas Khan and Saeed were kind of in constant communication around a specific tender for COVID-19 procurement, but also around the certain questions that Saeed had facilitated in putting to the former Inspector General of Intelligence, Dr. Dintwe. It's safe to say that there was a relationship between Saeed and Khan. And I think as a result of that, we could well say that there was a possible relationship between Saeed and Khan, Imtiaz Faisal and Khan himself.
So who's providing oversight now when you've got Inspector Generals being suspended? Like, is now oversight suspended for even institutions like the State Security Agency?
I think that's probably one of the biggest talking points out of this article and this investigation, Clement, is that at present, the Inspector General of Intelligence is meant to be this watchdog over all intelligence services in South Africa. And given his suspension, it raises serious questions about accountability and oversight. At present, given that he's suspended, there is no body that is responsible for oversight within the intelligence structures. But even prior to his suspension, I think it's important to note that Imtiaz Faisal had been looking into several other investigations. For example, into defense intelligence, the docking of the Lady R vessel in Simonstown. And that vessel at that time in December 22 was related or alleged to have been carrying arms for Russia's and Ukraine war, despite an investigation by South Africa finding otherwise. But he had been tasked by the president himself to look at whether what SSA's involvement was in that saga and whether they had any role to play in the docking of Lady R and so forth. Imtiaz Faisal also highlights that he received immense pushback from the State Security Agency themselves, in actually assisting with investigations that he was tasked to look into. So, you know, it's important that we know that the Inspector General of Intelligence in this democracy plays a crucial role in holding intelligence structures which ordinary South Africans and citizens aren't made privy to, given the top secret and confidentiality of that information and those investigations. But he is the one that is meant to hold them to account. And without him being there, without him having his security clearance, which was withdrawn just months before he was suspended, it poses a real risk and danger to our democracy and the country as a whole, because essentially it's a free-for-all. Between October and now that he's been suspended, no one's going to be held to account, and we don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah, and I mean, knowing what we know about how often crime intelligence and its processes can be abused, you know, this is not a time for there to be such a vacuum created. Orange Singh, thank you for joining us. He's an investigative journalist with Amabungane. They published quite an explosive report this morning detailing the affidavit by the Inspector General of Intelligence showing how the Minister of Police, who's now suspended, Senzo Mkhunu, drew him into the crime intelligence wars that are now playing out. It's 28 after 10.
Work doesn't start when employees arrive at the office. It starts with family responsibilities, financial pressures, and the challenges of everyday life. And when life feels overwhelming, performance suffers. That's why Kaelo Lifestyle provides confidential, emotional, financial, legal, and well-being support for employees and their families. Because when people feel supported, they're more focused and ready to perform. Kaelo Lifestyle. Visit kaelo.co.za.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Demonials. It's the flavor! Real reviews by real people. Nadine from Belito is no scallop, but she did call the flame-grilled half chicken in Nando's unique peri-peri recipe with a single side of your choice for $125 dope. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, sorry. Relax, Nadine. The only thing we're busting here is your hunger. Okay? Nando's. Oh, what a place.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
A storm around the lobbying industry. It was sparked by former DA leader John Steenhuisen's claim that Tony Leon's Resolve Communications had been working against him while he was the Minister of Agriculture.
There's no law in our country that regulates corporate influence over government policy. There's no requirement, like in many other jurisdictions, for government to publicly disclose information about its interactions with the private sector.
Robin Hugo is the Director for Climate Change Engagement at Just Share.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking. Africa's energy future takes more than ambition. It takes turning plans into projects, opportunity into investment, intent into execution. At ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking, we help connect the capital, expertise, and opportunity needed to bring sustainable projects to life across Africa. That's how we're invested in Africa's energy future.
10:31, Sviso has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The South African Police Service says it's confident in its case against alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Matlaala and 4 of his co-accused in their trial as it gets underway in the Johannesburg High Court. Matlaala, his wife Tsakani, along with Tiego Mabusela, Musa Kekana and Tabiseng Nzama, face 25 charges from 3 alleged botched assassination attempts that happened between 2022 and 2024. Their charges include attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, possession of unlicensed firearms, and money laundering. A 41-year-old man has died after a fishing boat carrying 6 people capsized in Durban North. The man, who was the father of the 3 of the survivors, was found on the beach after fishermen and emergency crews launched a major rescue operation yesterday in the surf off Beachwood. The National Sea Rescue Institute says 5 others, including 3 children and the boat's skipper, survived. And 6 people have died after a 5.1 magnitude earthquake in Peru. The tremor also destroyed dozens of homes in the Andes regions over the weekend. 12 aftershocks have been recorded since Saturday. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
If you are currently in Edenvale, look out for those roadworks on the R24 West, slowing down traffic as you head towards the Kalulis interchange. The N3 North is also moving slowly as you make your way up to the Geldenhuys interchange, and it is also due to road works. Otherwise, look out for faulty traffic lights in Marlborough at Old Pretoria and Marlborough Drive, in Woodmead at Woodmead Drive and Woodlands, as well as in Fourways at Monte Casino and Winnie Mandela Drive. If you do come across any other traffic on your side, please send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
7:02. Let's walk the talk.
It's 33 minutes now after 10 o'clock. So we started a series, when was it? About 2 weeks ago. And this is a series that's looking at the stories that have embarrassed our government and our country. And I just want us to take some time to look back at some of those stories and give you an update. But I also think this is an opportunity for us to get our authorities to know that we're still waiting for there to be accountability and for these matters to be closed. I mean, it cannot be that over 6 years later, we still don't know how the Bushiris have escaped. That was quite embarrassing for our government. Remember that? And we spoke about this 2 weeks ago, and there's still no movement. The police somehow are still confident of the extradition attempts, but no one is telling us about how Bushiri and his wife escaped this country. And that's quite concerning, that to this day, not even one person can tell you what transpired here in our from our law enforcement officers. And then last week we focused on the escape of Thabo Bester. Also brought in a journalist who covered the story from the beginning and some authorities, so you get a sense of where things are at the moment. And today we are going to focus on the Stilfontein standoff and the escape of Tiger, because for months thousands of undocumented miners known locally as Zamazamas were trapped underground at this disused Shaft 11 in the northwest, near Stilfontein. And after the police cut off food, water, and medical supplies in 2024 as part of this operation, that's when really all hell broke loose. So what became a strategy to force miners to surface and be arrested became, in fact, in the words of Kumbuzo Nchaveni, the minister in the presidency, an attempt to smoke them out. And by the time a court-ordered rescue operation finally reached the stuff in January 2025, about 246 miners were brought up alive, and there were about 78 bodies that were retrieved, with community organizations calling it a massacre. And just as South Africans were reckoning with that tragedy, a new embarrassment emerged. That's when now Tiger, the man who was named by the SAPS as one of the mine's most brutal enforcers and one of the kingpins, he resurfaced from the shaft during the rescue operation, only to vanish before ever reaching a police cell. And that was with the help of the very officers who were guarding him. And more than a year later, he remains a fugitive. We're told that the 4 police officers who were facing charges over his escape are still going through the court. And there's a national human rights inquiry that is still trying to establish who, if anyone, will be held accountable. So we wait and see. But do you remember the story about Tiger? And where do you think he is now? And are you convinced that these officers could have been the only ones involved in helping him escape? Or do you think there was perhaps a message from above that that's the man that you have to let go? And what would be the reason for that? It's actually quite scary thinking about it. Let's go to our guests now this morning. And I'll also take your calls and WhatsApps on 011-883-0702. You can share your thoughts about the story on 072-702-1702 as well. Let's start now with Tace Kiba, who is in Klerksdorp, who is a Northwest-based journalist who's been covering the story really from the beginning. And then later on, I'll bring in Mzukisi Jam, who is a South African National Civic, who is with the South African National Civic Organization in the Northwest. Is it Tace now joining us on the line? Tace, good morning.
Good morning to you, Clement. Also, good morning to listeners of your show.
So you've been covering this story from the beginning, and part of the reason we're doing this feature is, go back to these stories that were quite a big embarrassment, and one, remind the listeners what transpired, and then also get an update on where things are. And I just want to start off with what happened when you were covering the story, because you covered this Stilfontein siege as it unfolded. What was it like standing at the mine with ambulances waited and bodies being brought to the surface?
Yeah, I think, Clement, for some of us, because we've been covering these illegal stories for a long time now, it was just a normal day as it is. But the difference with this one, remember, it was involving members of the SNDF as well, and also had a national attention. So that was the only difference, the presence also of other media houses and journalists that were there. But as far as collecting bodies there from those shafts that are no longer working, these are part of the things that we normally do when we cover illegal mining stories. So for us, I think what was unique, it was the attention, which was national and international, that these was receiving, especially from other governments that were coming from Lesotho and other countries that were coming to look for their people in this particular situation.
Yeah, and I mean, there were all sorts of claims about, who was the kingpin, who was involved, has government allowed this to happen? But as someone who has stayed in the Northwest, what was the impact of what we saw at Stilfontein on the communities nearby? Because people who worked at that mine, or people who were zamazamas at the mine, actually lived in a community nearby, which is why when they were still underground, some of their family members came out, and they were distressed. Have you observed any impact as a result of what transpired in Stilfontein on the neighboring communities?
The funny thing about illegal mining, especially in Stilfontein, Klerksdorp, Orkney, Kanana, city of Matlosana as a whole, is that members of the community decide, Clement, they've always had different views when it comes to this one. There are those that were feeling that they were unsafe because, remember, some of these illegal miners, Zamazamas, were staying in the township. Some were even hiring the houses or the back rooms of these particular community members. But there are those on the other side that were feeling that these people brings difference to their community, because you remember, if they rent a house at your place, they pay for rent. So some were even feeling that they're uplifting their community in terms of creating jobs and also economic activity that was happening in this community. So there's always been different views about this particular issues. You remember that when they were here, because now the community are no longer hearing gunshots. There were gunshots almost every weekend. Sometimes it will be conflicts between them as Zamazamas. Sometimes it will be conflicts with other community members. So there was an issue of safety that was was more emphasized. But like I said to you, the other side were feeling that there was an economy activity that was happening. Some of the local taverns, by the way, and the pubs were also feeling that these Zamazamas are supporting their businesses. Now that they are gone, that economic activity, it has went down.
Let's talk now about the man who's the reason for our conversation this morning. This James Tiger Tswayedi, who resurfaced from Shaft 11 like hundreds other Zamazamas, but only he managed to vanish before even reaching a police cell. Do you remember the time when it was announced that this man that the police have been waiting for did come out and is now gone? Because it was quite a surprise to a lot of us.
Most of us were surprised at Clement. I still remember it was in January 2025 when we were told that this particular man has escaped, who's called, by the way, a kingpin, whereas some people have a different view whether he is the kingpin or not. But what we understand is that he was the one who was also controlling operations underground there. He was also accused of assaulting mine workers that were there, which are the illegal mine workers, by the way. And then one of the things that we also understand to this day, those 4 police members which were warrant arrest and sergeants are still appearing in court. As I speak to you now on this Monday, the 20th of July, those 4 accused are expected to appear in court today in the Stilfontein Magistrate Court on the same matter that is not on trial yet. So there's still, there was a disagreement between committee members to say, but this guy is not necessarily the kingpin. They are kingpins. Now, it also links us to what is happening in Madlanga, whereby we are now starting to see the loopholes in our security justice system and also police. That is why there was an argument to say it's not him, the kingpin. The kingpin might be out there sitting, waiting for this particular guy, Tiger, to give him a report in terms of what's happening underground. So it can't be that the kingpin was underground. The kingpin was sitting there negotiating possibly with other people that are at the top level.
I mean, one of the things that surprised me is when did he manage to negotiate for the escape? Because he was underground with the rest of the Zamazamas, and I mean, he was not having constant communications with the police, in a safe, disclosed, secret manner, which then raises the question, could there be other people outside who are much higher up, whether in government or in the SAPS, who instructed that he be assisted to escape? Because it looks like as soon as he came out, I mean, they didn't even take him to the van, the police van. As soon as he came out, somehow this man disappears like that.
Remember, for a very long time, there have been allegations that members of SAPS were receiving bribes from Zamazamas. Those allegations, they are not yet proven. But when Tiger escaped, it reminded us about the fact that whether police could be working with the Zamazamas. The people that are arrested at the current moment, Clement, these are members of the SAPS, which is an embarrassment to them because the same allegations that were running around here, they could be linked to this to say this is just a confirmation that your members, some of them were involved in this whole thing, even though there's no concrete evidence. The issue of Tiger exposed that to an extent that some of the committee members were calling for a commission, probably on the issue of illegal mining, because they believe that there's a lot of people that are involved in this whole thing. It can't be that a person underground negotiated for his escape. There was someone maybe negotiating on his behalf.
Absolutely. I'm really convinced that's how it turned out. Dace Kiba, thank you so much for speaking to us. He is a journalist in the Northwest who's been covering the story of Stilfontein and Tiger from quite the beginning, in fact. What do you make of what we've just discussed with Dace Kiba? I'm honestly convinced that there is someone higher up who already spoke to the police officers on the ground and said, yo, when this specific man comes out, I need you guys to just don't say much, take him into a car and drive him to the safe place. And the question is, who could that person be? Because if you look about it, practically speaking, do you think Tiger was able to negotiate with the police? He didn't even know which of the cops were out on the surface. So how did he manage to negotiate with them and promise them, okay, I'll give you this amount of money or I'll do this for you if you help me escape? Doesn't look like there was even a conversation. It's almost like as soon as he came out, they helped this man just escape. And more than a year later, you and I still don't know whatever happened to him. Yeah, it's quite wild. After the break, I'm going to come to your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. You're welcome to give us a call as well. And then I'll bring in Mzukisi Jam, who is with the South African National Civic Organization in the Northwest. They initially were supporting government's operation there in Stilfontein.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Domonials.
It's the flavor!
Real reviews by real people. Nico from Kailami is in touch with his emotions. So when we asked about the Nando's peri-peri half chicken and a single side for only $1.25, he said,
I'm sad. I finished it.
Nikos, ungawari. Because this chicken season has more episodes. Nando's. Oh, what a place.
Find your next design obsession at Decorex Joburg. From the 30th of July to the 2nd of August, the Sandton Convention Center becomes the destination for the latest in decor and design. Explore over 450 exhibitors across 5 levels, inspiring talks and live demos, plus the property show by Private Property. Download the Decorex app and plan your visit today. Decorex Joburg, 30th July to 2nd August. Tickets at decorex.co.za and at the door.
Because behind every blood donation is a future still unfolding. A child's first day at school, a first job, a dream business, a first drive. For 25 years, blood donors have made these moments possible. In just 30 minutes, give someone another tomorrow. Be the lifeline. Give blood. Give it tomorrow. The South African National Blood Service.
What is your business here? You didn't start your business to play it safe. You took the leap, made the bold move, and now it's time to make the next one. This week, 702 and Budget Business Insurance are giving small businesses the chance to win their share of 100,000 Rand with the Budget BizBucks Bonanza. Enter on primemediaplus.com. Tell us about the boldest move you've ever made in your business and what your next one will be. Then get an obligation-free Budget Business Insurance quote. 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa could call you. Budget Insurance is a licensed non-life insurer at FSP. T's and C's apply.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
It's going up to 10 minutes now before 11 o'clock. I'm going to bring in Mzukisi Jam now, who is with the South African National Civic Organization in the Northwest, and then I'm going to come to your WhatsApps and calls in a moment. Mzukisi, thank you so much for also joining us for this conversation. Hi.
Hi, Clement, and thank you for having us.
Yeah.
And good morning to your listeners.
Thank you. So, I mean, your organization was initially quite involved in what was happening in Stilfontein, in that you were supporting government's operation before, of course, it turned deadly. You know, knowing how it ended, where, as you sit now, how do you reflect on what transpired in Stilfontein, particularly around the escape or disappearance of this man called Tiger?
You know, the Stilfontein incident remains the most horrific and shocking one by far. Shocking in a sense that we honestly did not expect, as a civic movement, the response we got from our own government through Minister Nchaveni, who said they were going to smoke people out, on the basis of the fact that in South Africa we do not have a law, Clement, which says in curbing criminality we must kill criminals. So Sanko was there on the basis of, on humanitarian basis, because we were saying we cannot allow a situation where people are killed on the basis of the fact that they are regarded as criminals. but we were also not condoning the criminality that the law enforcement was claiming. We're merely saying these people, by virtue of being human beings, they have a right to life. Therefore, they must be extracted from the ground and then be processed through our justice system. But the response from the government was different, and which is what led to a number of them, actually more than 100 claimants died underground. So, and everything else that happened, even our efforts to rescue them being sabotaged by the same government deliberately. So it's really one of those incidents which would remain, a trauma to us who were there from day one, who were there, pulling those dead bodies deep from underground. It's something that we really had to process it on ourselves. But with regards to the escape of the alleged kingpin, Tiger, we reported the behavior of the SAPS officials way before the escape, because you would recall, Clement, that the only communication with the people underground was through the letters that they were writing, and then those letters would be pulled through a rope that we were using. We started seeing some funny reaction from SAPS, because all the time when there was a letter that came out, they would take it from us aggressively, to an extent that they would even assault us trying to reach to the letter. Then you could see that we were not on the same team, so to speak, because if we were all there to try and find out what was the situation underground, why would we have to fight about the letters? It is on those bases that we are of a very strong view that there was communication that was made before the alleged kingpin was taken out. Because how do you explain a situation where he comes out and immediately disappears? So there was one of the letters that not all the letters which were pulled out were read out openly to the public and to all of us. So we are suspecting that there was perhaps a letter that was taken out, which was informing them that they must be ready. They must be ready because Tiger is coming out. That's the only thing that makes sense to us.
Yeah, sure, true. Yeah, Msukusi, let me thank you, man, for making time for us, and let's hope we're going to get to the bottom of this, and the people who, I think they were even appearing in court this morning, if I'm not mistaken. But let's hope that this matter is going to get to a point where there's more that's being revealed, and also we can see actions within the SAPS on it being reformed really moving quickly, because the rot in the SAPS, it runs much deeper than we think. Let's go to, before I go to your WhatsApps, here's a voice note we got from Atlenda Mati, who is the spokesperson for the SAPS. We invited her to come and talk to us about the latest on Tiger's escape and the police officers who are facing charges. And she said she's not able to join us, but she can send us a WhatsApp voice note for an update. So here's what she's had to say.
The search for missing Tiger is still underway. We can confirm that the case of defeating the ends of justice and aiding Tiger to escape from lawful custody is still before the Stilfontein Magistrates Court, and all four are appearing in court this morning. In terms of our internal departmental investigations, only 2 members are facing an internal departmental investigation. That process is still underway, and no further comment will be provided at this stage.
So that's the police spokesperson, Atlenda Martin. Now here's what some of you have had to say.
Clement, Tabisha here from Dennerton. Regarding the escape of Tiger. You see, I don't think that like characters like Tiger started only working with the police for his escape. No. The police knew that he was down there, and they knew that by the time he in particular has to come out, a plan must be there, because it's somebody that they surely had worked with before. So I don't think that should actually surprise us that much. Thank you. Though it's an embarrassment to the government.
Morning, Clement. I hope you're well, brother. Look, if there were any higher ups who requested the officers on the ground to help Tiger escape, it would stand to reason that those higher ups were also benefiting from the illegal gold mining, and they knew for sure that should Tiger be arrested, then his testimony was going to implicate them as well. So they were just basically saving themselves.
Yeah, I mean, how else do you explain it, hey? It's 3 minutes before 11.
Big game for Alan, balancing the day-to-day, looking after his family while still planning ahead. Good thing he's with FNB Private. Service suite backing him on and off the field 24/7. His banking advisor keeps the day-to-day moving. When the game needs strategy, his private advisor steps in. And when things get more complex, the right specialists come off the bench. Everyone in position.
Switch to FNB Private. FNB. Help changes everything. FNB is a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP. T's and C's apply.
Is there a word for the feeling of a road disappearing over the horizon? Beyonding? What about the feeling you get when you see sunlight flickering through rows of trees? Sun fizzing. Anyway, some things don't like to be explained. They just ask to be felt. Like the feeling of a drive built around you. Technology that's human first makes you one with your car in a way that you can't explain. You can only feel. And there's a word for that. Mazda. Wonder awaits. At the 702 Josie Majosi Walk the Talk, snap and share any one of 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag MazdaSA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
Corporate Start Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporate Start Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring CTICC. Their CEO, Toby Motlhabane, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporate Start Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
All right, it's going up to 11 o'clock now. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News. And when we return, we're going to have a conversation on our Family Matters feature about the importance of open and meaningful communication in families. How intentional are you about talking to your children, for starters, talking to your spouse, talking as a family, talking to your siblings, your parents? Are you a type of person who comes from a family that's quite secretive and you're not even encouraged to show or share your emotions? Or are you someone who comes from a family that's quite open? And how has that impacted the person that you ultimately became as an adult? That's the conversation I want us to have on our Family Matters feature this morning. We'll tell you why it's important to be intentional about creating these open and meaningful communication opportunities in families. It's 11 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The South African Police Service says it's confident in its case against alleged crime boss Vusumuzi Matlala and his 4 co-accused in their trial as it gets underway in the Johannesburg High Court today. Matlala, his wife Tsakani, along with Tiego Masibula, Musa Kekana and Tabiseng Nzama, face 25 charges from 3 alleged botched assassination attempts between 2022 and 2024. Charges include attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, possession of unlicensed firearms, and money laundering. The police's Athlenda Mate says the alleged triggermen, Mabusela and Kekana, have been linked to about 30 serious and violent crimes in Gauteng.
So we do believe that we have broken the back of a syndicate of well-trained, highly specialized hitmen that were terrorizing communities in and around Gauteng.
A former Mfuleni fleet manager is expected to appear in the Vanderbijl Park Magistrates Court today on charges of fraud and corruption. The 42-year-old was arrested by the Gauteng Political Killings Task Team over the weekend. The arrest is linked to the alleged irregular awarding and implementation of a municipal vehicle fleet tender in which about 16 million rand was paid to a service provider for the delivery of 18 vehicles. Nkoskhona Malingamnisi reports.
In April, EWN reported that Mfuleni Municipal Manager April Nduli filed a criminal complaint against 7 employees and several service providers over the 16 million rand in irregular fleet spending. The complaint opened at Vanderbijl Park Police Station involved alleged gross mismanagement of assets, including their verification, acquisition, maintenance and insurance. The municipality at the time also said disciplinary action was underway against those implicated and that companies involved and their directors will be blacklisted. Police investigations have revealed that only 7 of the contracted vehicles were delivered to the municipality despite full payment allegedly having been made to the service provider. Khona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
A 41-year-old man has died after a fishing boat carrying 6 people capsized in Durban North. The man, who was the father of 3 of the survivors, was found on the beach after fishermen and emergency crews launched a major rescue operation yesterday in the surf off Beachwood. The National Sea Rescue Institute says 5 others, including 3 children and the boat's skipper, survived. The institute's spokesperson, Craig Lebanon, says police have opened an inquest for investigation.
A 5th survivor, one of the 3 brothers, aged 17, was medically assessed by paramedics and not injured. He was not transported to hospital. The body of the deceased man has been taken into the care of police and government health forensic pathology services. Condolences are conveyed to family and friends of the deceased man.
And 6 people have died after a 5.1 magnitude earthquake in Peru. The tremor also destroyed dozens of homes in the Andes region over the weekend. 12 aftershocks have been recorded since Saturday. Peru is situated on the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of intense seismic activity stretching from Japan through Southeast Asia and across the Pacific Basin. Gold is trading at $4,008.61 an ounce. The rand is at 16.52 to the dollar, 22.25 to the pound, 18.90 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $90.23 a barrel.
In the traffic, look out for faulty traffic lights in Midrand at the R55 in Kenilworth, in Roodepoort at Hendrik Potgieter and Jim Fouchier, as well as in Sunninghill at Rivonia and Witkoppen.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 21 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The South African Police Service says it's confident in its case against alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Magwenya and his 4 co-accused as they appear for their trial today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Six minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. It's time for our Family Matters feature.
702.
Family Matters.
Today we're talking about the importance of open and meaningful communication in our families. How intentional is your family about that? maybe a family where you grow up in, or a family that you are raising now. Because in today's fast-paced world, many families often juggle multiple commitments. Like you have to deal with work, you've got school, you've got extracurricular activities, you've got social events to attend to. And as a result, meaningful communication can take a backseat sometimes. And yet, maintaining that open and honest communication within the family unit in today's fast-paced world is actually more important than ever. Why? Because communication is the cornerstone of any strong family. In fact, you can think of it as the glue that keeps everyone connected, fostering understanding and reducing conflicts. So it's about sharing your thoughts as well, sharing your feelings with your loved ones and experiences, and doing so honestly and respectfully. So when you foster open communication in your family, that is not just about talking. It's about creating a supportive environment where everyone feels valued and heard. And in many homes, difficult conversations are avoided. Feelings go unspoken. There are misunderstandings that linger for so long, and silence slowly replaces that space for connection. Are you someone who comes from that family that avoids things, where feelings go unspoken, or there are just misunderstandings that are not addressed? Because over time, that silence can become resentment, it can become emotional distance, or even complete estrangement. So I don't want to know from you this morning if your family is the kind of family that talks about everything, or do you avoid difficult conversations? And to parents out there, do you have open communication with your children? Do they tell you everything happening in their lives? What space have you created so that they can do that? And how did you go about building that and creating that space? Or do you struggle to get a glimpse into their lives? Share your thoughts with us, please, on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Nkateko Ndala Makoro is a counseling psychologist who will be guiding us through this conversation. Nkateko, great to chat to you again. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to the 702 listeners.
So, many of us grew up in families where communication is not necessarily encouraged. In fact, I mean, when you look at the much younger generation today, or people that come after us, you see how they're almost raised in a completely different family structure where there's a lot more openness than there was, back in the day. So how important is communication? Because we often hear that communication is the foundation of a healthy family, but what does healthy communication actually look like beyond just simply talking to one another?
So, and I think you raise an important, I will also put it as an perception of saying the younger generation, they are now open, but we also need to be zoning in or zooming in on the how. How are we speaking to one another? Are we speaking to one another in a respectful manner? Are we engaging, or are we just saying our thoughts and disengaging? Are we also validating each other when we are disagreeing with the opinion, let's say, as you said, the younger generation? If you are disagreeing with an opinion of a parent, are you then disagreeing in a respectful way? And are you also openly speaking in a way that repairs the relationship? So yes, there can be openness. So open communication does not necessarily mean healthy communication. So just because we can speak our minds, just because we can express ourselves, does not mean that it is a communication skill that brings us together as a family, or be it intergenerationally, or among siblings, or even amongst relatives. So we also need to highlight the fact that a healthy communication is the one where there is emotional safety. That's the primary indicator, where people can yet they can speak their minds, but they also know that they are safe in that environment. It's not going to be a matter of just to take each other with words, but at the end, we will have an understanding that we are still a family, we still need to live together, and we still need to be respectful to one another.
So how did we, I mean, if there are such great benefits of this open communication, I'm just wondering how we did it, or even our parents' generation when they were growing up, how they felt being part of a family that never spoke. Because I mean, Nkateko, especially many black families, back in the day were not like gathering on a table and having a conversation. In fact, back then, that used to be the case. Until then, kids are introduced to, gadgets, there's a phone, you're going to watch Generations at 8 p.m. So then that sort of breaks down that time that you used to have with the family when you're having dinner and you're having conversations about how your day was, and, you're having a little gossip here and there with the rest of your family. But now, I mean, you pick up, people will eat at, you'll see people eating at different times, and that takes away from the time to communicate. So how did we do it? How was it done back in the day by the generation that came before us? And how different is it from what we're picking up today? Do you think it's still a thing to just sit and have dinner together as a family?
Sure. I chuckle, Clement, because also again, there's maybe a thought of, there was no open communication, or communication was less, or there was less expression. Yes, you used to hear phrases like children are only seen and not heard, which is unhealthy. It's an unhealthy way of looking at children, as if children do not have an expression or do not have a mind of their own, or they don't have feelings. So those will have been things that are negative to shut the child's opinion and be seen as disrespect. So that used to be. But I want you to also think back in the day when maybe a grandmother or an aunt or even a mother or a father, so maybe a father gardening and teaching either a boy child or a girl child, this is how this grows, this is, what to do during winter, or around meal preparation time, where children were involved in chores and involved with their parents in those chores, to say, this is how we cut the carrot, you don't boil the pasta too long, and that it's in itself, yes, it's transference of skill, but you are able to connect on a much deeper level. And I was going to come to that later on, but it has been shown that actually children are more expressive when you as an adult are able to identify what it is that you want them to express themselves about. So you don't simply ask, how was your day? It puts them in an awkward position, because which part are you talking about? Do you mean the part where my scafftin bread was soaked with tomato, or do you mean a part where I did not like the teacher? But when we give them the language to speak about their day, they are much more expressive. And I think those chores and those activities and going with them here and there used to give us as parents, or gave our parents the language to engage and interact, and even us, because we learned experientially in that interaction.
So creating then an open communication, is that something that starts from when the kids are still young, or you kick it off when they are now sort of, they're getting into their teenage years? Because there are some parents
that would be
yeah, go ahead.
That would be too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can finish, Clement. Sorry.
So what? That would be too late then to wait for teenage years. So get them used to that space being created from the time they're still young.
Very much so. And again, when we think about communication and talking to your children, we're not talking about being friends with them or wanting to be buddies with them. And I think that's where most families get it wrong. They think, oh, if we don't necessarily like hanging with each other, does it mean now we're not gonna communicate? No. You create spaces. So if it's a family full of introverts, you create spaces in board games, as an example. So those board games will then force you to engage, to see, oh, this one is short-tempered, let's address the short temper. This one is unethical, let's address the ethics as maybe a life lesson. So no, you don't start when the children are teenagers. You start right from the beginning, from your bad touch, good touch, from how we dress for winter, how we dress for summer, how we cannot go with pajamas to preschool unless they allow them, and why in society we behave this way, that way. So you model as you do the activity. And I think that's the nugget that I want to leave with most listeners, to say it need not to be awkward as let's talk.
So then, because there are many other families that discuss issues like money or chores, as you say, or school, but they really struggle with like the deeper conversations. And again, they're trying to create that buffer because these are still your children. You are still their guardian or the parent. So you don't want to blur the line here so that it comes across as if you're friends. So you still want them to be comfortable enough, but to still recognize, that you are, their parent or their guardian. But equally so, you want to create a space where, it's still appreciated that they are still your children. So how do you balance that? Because some families say, yeah, but I talk to them about money. I talk to them about ethics. But the stuff I can't talk about are the uncomfortable stuff about boyfriends, girlfriends, or jealousy, or betrayal. What did they do? What didn't they do?
Yeah. And that would be from a place of being inquisitive. I think don't be don't be assuming to say, okay, it means they are going through this, or I saw this chart, it means that they are busy with boys or they are busy with girls. Being curious in your children's lives goes a longer way than giving lectures. I've been lectured by my children for giving them lectures. So now I take a more curious approach, and I also see it working, very well with clients that bring their children and they have to have a hard conversation. I will start it with ask questions. What question do you want to ask your child? So that makes the communication to be much more open than giving a lecture to say, this is how things work. This is how boys work. When a boy looks at you like this, run away, run to the next generation. But to say, oh, have you felt this way? Or has there been interest that you have been getting, maybe a romantic interest or a friendship interest that you are not even sure about? So become curious in your children's lives than giving lectures. I think lectures, especially for teenagers, they don't work very well, but guiding them with that curiosity, empathy, and a care, and for them again to feel that it is also safe for them to come to you with those issues, because whether we like it or not, if our children are not speaking to us, they are speaking to someone else. They are speaking to someone else who might influence them or that has got authority over the subject. So we cannot keep quiet about issues such as sex, issues such as relationships, issues such as being dishonest in a test or an exam, in the fear that we are going to offend our children or we are going to make them not come to speak to us about those things. Rather, they be embarrassed that you are speaking to them about that than you thinking that they are not yet ready or they are not of the age. Yes, you make the conversation to be age appropriate. A 2-year-old, when you talk to them about bad touch and good touch, it's going to be different from a 14-year-old. You are not going to speak about bad touch and good touch with a 14-year-old. You are going to be speaking about consequences of engaging in early sexual debut, as an example.
Yeah. All right, 20 minutes now after 11 o'clock. We're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, I want to go straight to your WhatsApp voice notes and calls, your texts coming through as well. Did you grow up in a home where emotions are openly discussed, or where silence was the norm? You know, sometimes families appear peaceful because nobody argues, but in reality, everyone has simply stopped talking about difficult things. So how have you navigated that when you were being raised? Were you raised in a culture, in a family setup where openness was not encouraged, where transparency wasn't the thing? Communication and having a chat with an elder, your guardian, or even asking them questions, or even looking at them in the eye. I mean, when we were raised, we were taught not to look at the elders directly into their eyes. It's almost like a sign of disrespect. I mean, if that in itself is a basis of our relations with each other, when then do we even begin to have honest conversations? So, how were you raised, and how are you raising your own children? How are you creating that culture of openness where they can be comfortable enough to sit you down as their mom, as their dad, as their guardian, and say, this is what I'm going through, or this is what I'm unhappy about? It's 22 minutes after 11.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Demonials. It's the flavor! Real reviews by real people. Dolly from Boertersig is vegetarian-ish, with a reputation to uphold. Here's what she whispered about the half chicken and a single side for $1.25.
What? I don't eat chicken, but for Nando's, I make the exception.
Well, good thing there's a salad on the side, for appearances, of course. Nando's. Oh, what a place.
Next, new year, new you, new and the same trusted We Buy Cars since 2001. Whether you are buying or selling, We Buy Cars makes the process simple and seamless. Simply visit webuycars.co.za to complete the Sell My Car form for an offer, or browse through thousands of vehicles for all shapes and sizes. Ready to buy, sell, or trade in? Visit webuycars.co.za or one of their branches nationwide.
Whenever she fell or got hurt, a kiss always took the pain away. Honey and hugs helped at first when the coughing started. It's just a cold. Keep her warm and she'll be fine, we thought. I wish I could kiss RSV away too. Respiratory syncytial virus is a contagious virus that can lead to serious illnesses, including lung infections. Fortunately, protection for infants against RSV is now available in South Africa. Ask your healthcare provider about keeping your baby protected during their first RSV season.
Because behind every blood donation is a future still unfolding. A child's first day at school, a first job, a dream business, a first drive. For 25 years, blood donors have made these moments possible. In just 30 minutes, give someone another tomorrow. Be the lifeline. Give blood. Give it tomorrow. The South African National Blood Service.
702.
Family Matters.
It's 24 minutes after 11 o'clock. All right, let's go to your WhatsApps now on 072 702 1702.
Yes, Clement. This is a very, very important topic. You know, where there are no communication in the family, you find that family members become estranged to one another. It also comes out at school, it comes out at work, it comes out everywhere, including marriages. So it's very important. We have to communicate as a family.
Yeah, it's quite important. So where do we begin is the question that I'm seeing being asked a lot here in Kateko. For parents who are listening to us, guardians, people who are raising their children who realize that they don't have that kind of open communication with them, where do they begin?
Yeah, firstly, it's not to force the conversation and say, I've been listening to the radio and we need to talk, as I said. If there is a difficult conversation that needs to be had, make an appointment with your child and say, I want to speak about this. And this is the time that I want us to speak about. Sometimes as parents, we can easily ambush our children just because we are the authority or we are given the guidance, the guardianship of our children, it does not mean that we have the right to ambush. Just like you don't like being ambushed as an adult, it will be the same with children. So you set the agenda to say, I want us to speak about what I saw on your phone. And then so that also the child can contemplate, they can put together their thoughts. It's not a speak down on you. And as I said, you come with curiosity and understanding and also validating. I mean, if let's say you saw a child that you know, or even videos or an exchange that you know your child does not have business doing that, come with that. I can see why you will have gone to lengths to want that boy to like you by sending, a nude, or by sending a whatever, buying them Valentine's gifts to buy love. So you are showing that you have an understanding of where they are as a teenager. Maybe there's peer pressure and they are succumbing to peer pressure. And then you guide with love and care. Whenever you are guiding, your words should be wrapped with love and care. It should not be, continue to do what you are doing and you will see. And I will say to you, I told you so. No, it needs to be wrapped with love and care.
Yeah. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean as a parent you don't have a right to maybe be upset about the situation, but the question is, how do you address it? I mean, because you remember, Nkateko, back then things were done differently. Their way of communicating, the elders, our parents, that is, was to come and shout at you for whatever mistake you've made or something wrong, whether intentionally, whether you knew it's wrong or not. So how
with your thoughts.
Yes. So I guess because some parents will argue, okay, but if a child has done something that's completely outrageous, I still need to express to them that that's unacceptable. I need to be firm, but you can still do all of that while still being loving in your approach.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's not about coming down on them. So if you're thinking of coming down on a child so that their ears can be open, their ears do not open more or close more just because of how you approach the conversation. And actually, you might make them to close off and not listen next time. So the approach is very important. You not doing the talking all the time, listening into their feelings, to their thought, what might have led them to that. It's also valid, but as I said, then at the end you guide and you show, especially when they become older. I will say from 9 upwards, you now speak of consequences versus the punishing. So the discipline now becomes consequences based versus this is what I say or because I say so.
Yeah. Okay. It's going up to 11:30 now. We'll get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, we'll come back to more of your WhatsApps, your calls as well. You can call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. We're discussing this morning the importance of open communication in families. It's 11:30. Bali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The Johannesburg Magistrates Court will be hearing the formal bail application of suspended EMPD Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and a JMPD officer who can't be named yet. The pair was arrested on Friday in connection with the alleged 2023 theft of precious stones worth nearly 15 million rand from an apartment in Killarney. While Mkhwanazi maintains the stones were lawfully seized during a police operation, his co-accused, who testified as witness K, told the Madlanga Commission that the plan was to steal them from the start. The South African Police Service says it's confident in its case against alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala. Matlala, his wife Tsakani, along with their 3 co-accused, face 25 charges from 3 alleged assassination attempts between August of 2022 and January 2024. Charges include attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, possession of unlicensed firearms and money laundering. And Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie has defended expenditure on government's delegation to the FIFA World Cup. Mackenzie has been under pressure from the DA and Action SA to explain the 31 million rand expenditure. He says any evidence to suggest the money was misappropriated or that he personally benefited should be submitted to Parliament or the Auditor General for scrutiny. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
We'll start in Germiston. Traffic is moving slowly on the N3 North approaching the Geldenhuys interchange, and it is due to those ongoing roadworks. Meanwhile, in Main Reef, traffic is slow on Main Reef Road. This is between Nasrec Road and the Crown interchange, and that is due to those faulty traffic lights. Otherwise, traffic is free-flowing and the roads are clear. Karabo Jali is up next with the latest traffic update. From me, Khomotso Munya, you have a good afternoon.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
What is special about this year's 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk is that we actually get to experience the city in a completely different way. So often the city is seen in a negative light, and I feel like the Walk the Talk is going to be breathing new life into the city with people falling in love with it again. You must definitely take part in this year's Walk the Talk because, of course, we often engage across from one another via the phone, via the WhatsApp line, but this time we actually get to see each other in person, and it is always such a beautiful experience. This year, I am eyeing the 5 kilometer because I saw that route and I said, this should be interesting, but I'll see. I might challenge myself. Let's see. To enter the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, go to primemediaplus.com or download the app. I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you there.
If an employee said they were struggling with anxiety, financial or family challenges, would your business know how to assist? Well, the reality is 1 in 3 people experience mental health challenges. Kaelo Lifestyle helps employees and their families with confidential counseling, coaching, legal guidance, financial wellness, and nutrition advice. When employees get the support they need, businesses benefit from healthier, more productive teams. If you're looking to support your people and strengthen your workplace, visit kaelo.co.za. That's kaelo.co.za.
Imagine if you could save time like you save money. A second here, a minute there. Type a little faster, walk a little faster. Or you could stop scrolling on the internet. Just think of all the hours you'll save. Now, what if you could take all that time and invest it? Watch it grow. Until eventually, one day, you'd have so much time that you wouldn't know what to do with it all. But unfortunately, time doesn't work like that. It can't be stored or banked. And unlike money, you can't make it back. That's why after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time to do whatever you want to do, even if it is scrolling on the internet. Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is street ahead. Warrior Paints, affordable, lasting, luxury.
702.
Family Matters.
25 minutes before 12 o'clock on our Family Matters feature this morning, we're in conversation with Nkate Kondala Makoro, who is a counseling psychologist, who is guiding us through the conversation we're having this hour about the importance of open and meaningful communication in families. I've got lots of your texts that have come through, WhatsApps as well, that I want to get to as we continue our conversation. So let me start with the message from Silva on the WhatsApp line. She says, hi Clement, I come from a family where everything was swept under the rug. You can come with 2 heads and our 4 feet and no one would say a thing. It has had a negative impact on me because I don't believe that things should be that way, but I seem to be fighting a losing battle because it's too pervasive and persistent. The other one says, "Hi, Clement. I was blessed with a very open grandmother. My mom worked. We could address anything. As an adult, I'm very open to a point that annoys my niece. In my capacity or in my personal relationship, I choose silence because this person can be very frustrating and is good as gaslighting." Another one says, "Hi, Clement. Strict parents raise good liars. I learned that as I became strict, my daughter preferred to speak to her father because mama was strict. I learned to keep it cool because I ambushed her more than conversing and listening." Thank you so much for this topic. That's a message from Angel in Benoni. And there's another one here that says, "Clem, one thing that's worked for us is to be consistent with having dinner at the table together at least 4 days a week. We bought this stack of cards called Conversation Starters, which has opened up non-scary channels of communication. It's been interesting how questions like, when was the last time you failed? When last did you feel hurt, happy, or nervous? It's been interesting how that has humanized us as parents to our children. They now see we were also once children. They started opening up, and even difficult conversations are part of the flow of dinner conversations that continue naturally beyond, rather than the old "we need to talk" or lecturing approach that we used to take. So yay, but the patience it requires, it's a lot. So that's a message there from Zikiso on the WhatsApp line. Yeah, keep your contributions coming, just sharing your experiences with us. How are you doing it in your family? And has it paid off? How has it helped with your relationship with your kids? But also, how was it done as you were being raised in your own family? So, Ngateko, what are some of the signs for people listening to us who are wondering, I wonder if me and my family or what's happening now are the consequences of not creating open communication channels? So what are the signs that your family communication needs improvement? Because that breakdown in communication really happens overnight, right? I mean, there are subtle warning signs that a family is beginning to disconnect emotionally. What are those?
Absolutely. A client related this to me, Clement, says, "My mother nearly chobolo." And I became so anxious that in my adulthood, I then became scared to take risks because whatever I did, she will talk down on me, and there was nothing that I was good at. It does not matter how clean I clean. So as a result, then this person is lacking an exploration because they are afraid that anything that they do, it will be a failure, or it will be interpreted by the world as a failure. Those are some of the signs where the children are scared to explore and to try out anything, or you as an adult, you don't want to try anything because you are scared. What if I don't get it right? And you still have your caregiver's voice that was highly critical and harsh of anything that you tried. The other sign, and one of the listeners talked to that, where they mentioned that strict parents raise good liars. But I also challenge clients, especially when they are adults, and when this lying continues, maybe they lie and cheat in relationships because they had to conceal everything in their lives. Then the challenge would be, now you are an adult, you have choices, you are no longer a child. Yes, you were raised in that environment. So that's also one thing that we need to be aware of. The other one is, you look to please people because you are looking for validation elsewhere. You also fear conflict. So whenever there's a conversation, you think it is a conflict, while actually in a healthy relationship, we have conversations, we have disagreements, and we have a way of resolving them. Suppressing of needs, you are likely not to speak about your need and express what you need, and also expressing of emotion and even seeking validation everywhere. And that then in itself create unhealthy relationships.
Yeah. What are the long-term consequences when children grow up feeling like they cannot safely express themselves at home, or they're just not heard? What happens much later then as adults, as they grow?
Yeah, I think exactly that. They may get engaged in unhealthy relationships because they are just seeking somebody to hear them, somebody that looks like they are giving them attention, even though it's not good attention, even when it's negative attention. They might grow up just being engaged with anybody, even when they are not loved and regarded and not feeling safe in those relationships. So they already know, their senses can tell them, no, you are not safe in this relationship, but they will rather stay in that relationship because that was modeled to them. Intimacy as well, which I know it's an interesting one to say, how does lack of communication now impact on intimacy? But remember, if you are unable to express your needs, if you have not been able to say, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, how are you going to even express it to your spouse, to your partner in the future, to say, no, this is what I prefer, this is what I don't prefer? So it's got long-term ramification. And the first one that I made in the previous response of not being a go-getter, because you are already thinking, what if I am criticized by the world? Whereas in a healthy relationship where the communication is, you tried this, you tried that, you see it did not work, what about you try it in a different way? Therefore, as an adult, you are able to grow up knowing that things, we try them and they fail, and it does not mean that I'm a failure. It just means what I tried failed.
Absolutely. Palisa, you calling us from Tsakani. Good morning.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
Hey, I'm all right. How are you, Palisa?
I'm trying. And morning to your guest as well. So, I'm a parent of 3. My eldest is turning 21 in September. Just to cut a long story short, she's currently in her 2nd year. We just found out, actually, I just found out today that she failed all of her 6 modules in the first semester. Now, speaking about communication, this is one child we have tried so hard with regards to communication. She can come to us. Her father, how we found out, he had to force her to log into the school app. And even once he sees the results, she still lies. Like, when the situation is so bad, how can we help you when you don't even tell us the truth? I've been trying to call her because I only found out on Thursday. She ignores my calls. How do I help you in such a situation? I'm just so broken.
Palisa.
I'm very sorry. I'm
I
very sorry. Yeah.
Sure. How old?
She's 20. She's turning 21 in September.
Yeah. Kateko, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm very sorry, Palisa. I can hear that you are still in shock about the results. As you mentioned that you have tried to communicate, this is the one child out of the 3 that you have tried to communicate and perhaps even encourage her and even supporting her. I mean, for her to be at varsity, it means you have supported her up to this far. I will suggest that you recommend therapy for her, because it could be that there are things that she wants to express where it's not even about the emotional safety that you have created or not created, but that are weighing on her, that she might think that if she were to express them to you, they will weigh you further, given the support and the love that you have given to your child. So I will definitely suggest that, because she's keeping quiet, to say to her, would you like to speak to a trusted adult? Would you like to speak to a professional? And trust that process, because she is also 21, she is a major. Yes, she is still your child. You still love her and care about her, but she also can start to be her own person in you trusting that, in her speaking to a trusted adult, be it a professional or a relative, that she can express herself fully in that space. So don't be too hard on the fact that she's not speaking to you. Perhaps she is also contemplating other things that are deeper than a parent-child relationship.
Sure, yeah, Palace, I'm sorry to hear about the situation, and I really hope the situation will improve. How was your relationship before this thing was discovered? Was the relationship fine before this?
No, it was. It was because I hear Mkateko saying that she needs to go to therapy because she actually started seeing the school therapist this year, and she disclosed that to us. So that's the kind of relationship, and we're quite supportive because we're actually asking, do you also need like additional support other than what you're getting from the school therapist? She's like, no, for now I'm fine, because she was going to her twice a week. So that's why it's such a conundrum for me, because I'm just like, how did we move from talking about it? And I hear Mkateko also saying that we need to suggest therapy, but how do I do that when you don't even take my calls?
You're not even taking the calls, yeah. She's also not taking Dad's calls.
No, she's not. She's just completely dark. Since last week.
Sure, yeah. Palisa, I'm sorry, man. I really am. And I really hope that things are going to get better going forward. Let's hope that she turns around, because as Nkateko says, maybe, the stuff that she's going through that she's unable to communicate at this point. Yeah, Nkateko?
Yes, just make sure about her safety. So for now, don't be so concerned about the relational issues or the conversation. The safety, the physical safety, where she is, that she's eating, she's bathing. If she's not doing all of that, then just take it a step further.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ngatek, for responding to that. After the break, we'll take some more calls on WhatsApps. It's 12 before 12.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
In 1999, NASA's Climate Orbiter was sent to Mars. Two teams were working on this mission. One team used imperial units and another used metric. This little mistake caused the spacecraft to burn up in Mars's atmosphere. See, whether you're studying Mars or getting on the cloud, you need to get the foundations right. At Ex Nihilo, we keep hosting simple, so your big ideas will have strong foundations. Ex Nihilo, trusted in hosting.
Looking to save money on your business insurance? Well, switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Switch today and get a guaranteed non-escalating premium for 12 months, even if you claim. So for convenience stores, restaurants, beauty salons, pharmacies, and all other businesses, make the smart business move and switch to Outsurance Business Insurance today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed, insured, and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
702.
Family Matters.
It's 10 minutes now before 12 o'clock. We're just about to wrap up our conversation around the importance of open communication in families. One message says, "Hi Clement, from my experience growing up, it is not enough for parents to just say their children can come to them when the child sees in the parent's behavior on a daily basis that is filled with judgment. So even when dealing with other family members, the kids are observing." I suppose that's a good point, Kateko, hey? Because you can't say to your kids, oh, please be open with me. I want us to have an open communication channel, but what they observe with you when other people open up to you, you become judgmental. So what they pick up in the conversations they hear in the car, how you address situations, that does influence how they interact with you going forward.
Definitely. So we can't say do as I do and not as I say. So it's not about what we tell them. To say you can come to me. It's how we communicate that, because they are looking at the nonverbal cues. They are looking at how we include them or exclude them. And yes, there are things that are not appropriate for us as adults to communicate with children or to have a conversation with our children about, but where it where it includes them and we are able to engage them, we should model that, we should show that. We should also show it in how we deal with conflicts and how we resolve conflicts, because they are going to know this is the way that when I bring something, this is how it's going to be dealt with. So it's definitely in how we communicate the openness and the I am here for you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so that's the message that we had gotten there from Zukiswa on the line. So how do we, because what I'm picking up even on the messages in Kateko is, one, you've got earlier on, and we addressed this concern, parents who felt like, okay, but how do I still maintain my role as a parent, that can be strict, that can be firm, while still allowing for a conversation that's more open, right? We addressed that. But now I'm picking up there are more people asking about, does it have to be an open relationship between the kids or the parents, or can the parents allow for that opportunity to exist with someone else? For instance, if your children are much closer to, I don't know, the auntie who's working at home, or closer to a particular cousin or their aunt, or their uncle, your sister, or your brother as a mom, as a dad, is it best to allow for that communication to take that shape if you feel, hey, there's nothing we can do anymore, we've tried to open communication, but clearly there's a trust deficit here? Or must guardians and parents always make sure that they are the ones through which this open communication channel is activated? Or could it be someone else outside of the immediate nuclear family?
It's wise to do that while you are, as the guardians and the parents, are working on yourself to enable you to have that open communication with your own children. Because at the end of the day, they are not children of your the helper or the aunts or the neighbors or the school teacher. They are still your children, so you cannot relegate responsibility because the children can only open up to the aunt. What has the aunt created for the children to be able to come and speak openly? And then you can even have a conversation to say, I see you are open with your teacher, and I wonder what it is that I can do to hear you a little bit more, to be more understanding. And it could be a personality thing, and that is fine, but we should, as parents, be on the mark, because there might be things that our children go through that slips through those healthy conversations that they have with the other person. And perhaps it's also a matter of parents do not know where to start. They might be too scared to know, actually, where do I start? What is the first thing? And the first thing is to start small. It's not to do this, grand family meetings or grand, we are now putting the phones aside and we are having dinner at the table. It's just in small things. Car rides are the best opportunity for parents to speak to their children. One of the things, Clement, that I want to highlight in what you were asking, can another adult in the children's life, sometimes you might find that adult has different values to your own value system, or they see things differently, they see discipline differently, they see their worldview is different. So now you are going to keep on having clashes and conflicts in how you want to raise your children, or how you want your family to operate, versus how now the other person is communicating with them. So that you can monitor closely to say, okay, if the person, I can trust them with my child, or they are even a godparent, and I selected them to be a godparent for a reason, because we share the same worldview, the same disciplinary methods, and all of that.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit better than somebody who with totally different, because then it's gonna create another conflict within the home.
Yeah, Mkateko Ndala Mokoro, counseling psychologist. Thank you so much for guiding us through this conversation.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
The FIFA World Cup, what a spectacle. Cheers, tears, and some heartache. 39 unforgettable days. Fans in national flags singing anthems with pride. But have we let the good story get in the way of some uncomfortable facts? Remember how the Iranian team had to be based in Mexico, even though all their games were being played in the US. The best ref in Africa refused entry because he's Somalian. The Iraqi player questioned for hours in Chicago because he's from Iraq. Then the debacle of the American president effectively cancelling the US player Folarin Balogun's red card. What will this World Cup be remembered for?
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Lace up your techies and join Proudly South African at this year's 702 Walk the Talk. While you're soaking up the G's, swing past their activation to cool down. Say how's it to your favorite mascot, Lolo Warona, and celebrate 25 years of choosing local. Because every time you buy something that's loved here, made here, you are backing local businesses, supporting jobs and helping South Africans grow. Proudly South African, 25 years of choosing local together.
Johannesburg is calling. Join thousands of Joburgers on Sunday, 26 July for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk in proud partnership with Standard Bank. Experience the energy and spirit of the City of Gold as you walk through the historic streets of Joburg CBD, celebrating a city on the rise. As an iconic brand deeply connected to Johannesburg, Standard Bank invites you to be part of a movement that's bringing communities together and showcasing the best of Josie. Starting and finishing at Ellis Park, this is more than a walk. It's a celebration of our city and its growth journey. The 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, proudly partnered by Standard Bank.
Since its establishment in 1990, thousands of successful leaders in the legal profession have walked through the doors of the Law Society of South Africa's School for Legal Practice. Not only do we promote professional training, but our lead schools across the country provide training in over 25 learning programs. For the best practical vocational training course for future leaders, come to LEAD. Visit our website on lssalead.org.za. LEAD, your #1 school for legal education.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
How are you doing, Mandy?
Good, thanks, Tim.
What's popping?
Cap Matlala's attempted murder trial gets underway today. He's on trial with his wife and a couple of others for various attempted murder cases. Julius Mkhwanazi and witness K are making their first appearance in court. Also in court today, a former Mfuleni fleet manager in connection with a 16 million rand tender. The DA wants to know what the real impact has been of Operation Prosper on Cape Town gang violence following over a dozen people killed over the past week. And then, of course, we'll speak to somebody in Spain following the World Cup victory last night, which I got completely wrong. I called Argentina to win it.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I said 2-1 to Argentina. But, I guess this is where we are. But I was saying to the listeners, I'm happy though that Spain won.
I'm so happy Spain won.
They played quality
football.
They played better football than Argentina. All right, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. I'll be back with you tomorrow between 9 and 12. Keep listening to 702 throughout the day and have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Johannesburg Magistrates Court will hear the formal bail application of suspended EMPD chief, Julius Mkhwanazi, and a JMPD officer who can't be named yet. The pair was arrested on Friday in connection with the alleged 2023 theft of precious stones worth nearly 15 million rand from an apartment in Killarney. While Mkhwanazi maintains the stones were lawfully seized during a police operation, his co-accused, who testified as witness K, told the Madlanga Commission that the plan was to steal them from the start. Alfa Ramushwana reports.
Witness K entered the dock wearing a blue trench coat, a white scarf covering her entire face, along with a face mask and glasses to conceal her identity. When she testified partly in camera before the Madlanga Commission, she claimed her life was in imminent danger, alleging that her home was under surveillance by unknown men. Standing beside her in the dock is Julius Mkhwanazi, whom she claims is her former boyfriend, who is now facing a third criminal case in addition to the other matters already before the courts. Prosecutor Ntebantelwa says the state isn't opposing bail.
Just to place on record, the state is not opposed to bail application. Schedule 6 is applicable on this matter. We were not opposed to bail as it stands.
Mkhwanazi is already out on bail in 2 other recent criminal cases. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
The bail application of former Mfuleni Fleet manager Lerato Mpolo has been postponed after he requested access to a statement he made to investigators in April. Mpolo appeared in the Vanderbijl Park Magistrates Court on charges of fraud and corruption linked to an alleged 16 million rand vehicle procurement scandal. The state alleges that although the service provider was paid in full for 18 vehicles, only 7 were delivered. Magistrate Ibfi Mampuru postponed the matter for a week.
Thank you. Your matter is postponed to 27 July 2026 at 8:30 A court for bail application. You are in custody, no bail at this time.
We stay in the courts where there have been some delays to the start of the trial against alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala and his 4 co-accused in the Johannesburg High Court. It follows disagreements over the availability of legal representatives for the entire duration of the trial. Matlala, his wife Tsakani Matlala, Diego Floyd Mabusela, Musa Kekana and Tabiseng Nzama face a combined 25 charges arising from 3 alleged assassination attempts carried out between 2022 and 2024. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate says police cannot rule out the possibility of bringing charges against other suspects.